I am going to be your host and impromptu color caster, Temporal. I am here with Evie and Rory. How we doing?
Good, yeah.
Fantastic. On top of the world. Excited for start cross group games.
Hell yeah. It's playoffs time. If you weren't aware, we're going to do a little bit of cross group, and third and fourth have to fight the opposite third and fourth for their survival in the tournament, and moving, rather not their survival in the tournament, moving between upper and lower brackets, as first and second place are already up there. Okay, this evening. There we go. Look at that. A fantastic graphic for us. So, tonight we do have two best of threes going ahead. Vertex versus Belfast Storm, unfortunately, will not be broadcast. We do need to get the tournament going, and we haven't quite got the B stream ready. And we can see their opponents waiting in the future. Second places, Paragon and Nuclear Vikings in match 3 and 4 will both be played this Thursday on the 24th. But tonight, we have to get down to business. We have Good Chi versus the Venom Crest Serpents, and we do have some opinions, I believe.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, we got some not terribly polarizing opinions on this one, I think.
We're allowed to be polarizing on the case that we saw what happens when you're polarizing yesterday, as FlyQuest put an absolute dent in the side of Gen G. And I'm going to say tonight the gap isn't that big.
Yeah, it's I mean, these are two very, very interesting teams, right? When you look between Good Chi and Venom Crest on the whole, and how they've kind of evolved over the course of the split. So I'm pretty interested to see sort of a culmination of that as they take each other on today, because they're two very different teams compared to when the split started, both in terms of gameplay and, of course, in Good Chi's case, in terms of players.
There's been that growth and changes, always changes. Rory, what's your sort of big take on tonight? Is it David versus Goliath? Is it what's the theme?
It's an uphill battle from the start for Venom Crest. Good Chi are coming off two really decent best of ones from the other day. We saw Shin bring out something I haven't seen much of, which is his Fiora, which did stonkingly well, even ended with a 1v4 backdoor. So
I remember some bands thrown that way in summer. I'm not sure which stage of the tournament, but that definitely happened.
Yeah, a few. But when I'm seeing teams play with that confidence and trust, I'm instantly like, your playoffs ready. Because if you could just decide and commit to a play, I'm instantly going, nice. Even if that's a 4 out of 10 play, I'm like, well, at least you had the confidence to do it and put your whole team on your back for it.
All right. There is that added pressure, I feel, for Venom Crest from summer. So we're going to have a look at their roster first in a few moments. Evie, would you care to introduce them?
Absolutely. So we do have, as we've mentioned many times over the course of the split, the ex-Diamond 4 gamers, now the Venom Crest Serpents, and it's Shy in the top lane. We're still waiting to see a little bit more from Shy coming out towards these playoff games, and you know, we like to see more of the carry top laners out of Shy. We've not necessarily, that's not always been the case, right? Big fan of the Camille and the Fiora, but regularly on Gnar duty, and I wouldn't say that's necessarily his forte. However, the rest of the map, Hazard has sort of developed quite significantly over the course of a split. We do have Cassandra in that mid lane as well, and I would say one of the stars on this Venom Crest roster, to be honest, has been Cassandra, one of the driving forces behind, of course, only the 2 wins that they have, but Cassandra's been a pretty big player, not just in those wins, but also in a lot of their losses as well, has been a real bright spark. And you know, we still like to see Reeton, who was a big force in their wins in the Sunshine Showdown, when he was activated on the map, was a big producer in terms of the plays in the top side that they were finding, and we're still looking to see a little bit more of that magic as we go into this game.
Okay, so a little bit of Reeton magic, the recipe for tonight if Venom Crest are to succeed. Rory, the roster of Good Chi for you to introduce.
Right. So first, I'm going to start with the solids and then move to the more flippy. So Chova.
I thought you were going to say liquids.
No.
I've had enough physics today. Thank you very much.
We'll end on the gases.
I'll tell you who I'm gassing up. I'm gassing up Chova. I'm gassing up Scouse because they are actually playing really solidly. Yes, Scouse had a bit of an iffy early game in one of the best of 1 matches to get to this position, but that's fine. Sometimes that happens. Now, when we're talking about flippiness, I don't know who's winning out here on the Shin versus Waterfront. because it feels like water can go for a lot of roams and plays that just simply don't work out. But I'm fine if he's attempting to get his team into a position to do something. So I've got to say, most flippy has to be Shin, because Shin generally, if he's losing lane, it's really hard for the rest of Good Chi to ever get a strong, like a hand back to even get even in the match.
Okay, so looking not to fall behind, both of these teams, I think it's fair to say, have had some failings in the early game. You sort of mentioned, if they do fall behind, getting the sort of their hooks in and holding on is a struggle. Whereas that seems to be Venom Crest's plan A plenty of the time. It's like they want to drag you to the comfort zone, kicking and screaming, 50 minutes, deep team fight, backdoors are plenty. Hasn't worked out as successfully as previous splits, as Evie has mentioned. With that in mind, I want to know sort of how you think that's going to go tonight. We are going to flick it over to predictions, and I'm not sure what you two have written. I know what I've written. I'm eager to find out.
Yeah.
Oh,
2-0 squad.
Evie thinks we're going to 3. What do you think is going to kick us to 3? Game 1, game 2? Like, explain yourself.
Okay, so when we look back to that Sunshine Showdown and we see the performance that D4 Gamers had across the board, before, of course, they joined Venom Crest, they seem to be a lot more comfortable in the best of environment. Now, granted, right, a lot of the gameplay that we saw over the course of that tournament from them just hasn't been replicated in the regular split so far. I think they were playing at a higher level than we would typically expect from a team of their caliber. That's not to say anything about the players, but more so that they were coming up against some really strong opposition, especially towards the end, and still performing. That said, I think over the split, they've developed a lot in terms of they're no longer losing games in draft regularly, which was certainly the case right at the beginning. They've still shown some flashes of good early game gameplay, and I don't think Good Chi are solid to the point where Venom Crest can't take a game. I do still favour Good Chi in the series overall, but I think it might be closer than some people will be expecting.
Okay, I'm some people. I expect this is going to be rather one-sided. Rory, you seem to agree with me.
I do. I do. I think Good Chi have had much higher highs and a lot higher mids in their performances compared to Venom Crest. I think Venom Crest are, in total, even in their winning matches, performing far worse than Good Chi. And I think the only shining light Venom Crest really have in the early game, as you said, is a point of pressure for them generally, is their bot lane is always dying to a level 4 gank, it feels like, just constantly. The good news is Scouse plays Sejuani and Nocturne. So you got a bit of relief there. Unless Scouse wants to switch things up today and go for a much more early game pick, like maybe a volleyball, an Elise, maybe.
You're speaking music to me. That sounds quite exciting.
Yeah,
quite exciting. Fan of both of those champions right now.
Then I think Matthew might actually be in a position to scale and not be set behind. And we've seen Matthew on a hyper carry do incredibly well in some of these fights.
All right. I think that sort of fits the theme as well. Like, maybe we'll see some Cogmore, but we are kicking it to late game rather seriously. Evie's prediction would leave us here quite late at night, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this really is a lock-in and a bit of an all-night banger. To be seen. Rory, I'm going to put you on the spot with a different question.
Ooh, great.
If Evie is right, is it game 1 or 2 for Good Chi? Who's got the momentum coming in here?
Good Chi,
and you can tell me all about it as we get draft underway.
Good Chi definitely have momentum coming into this, but I think the first game, if Venom Crest were to win, will be theirs, because Venom Crest will bring something slightly off meta. They don't generally play off meta champs, so I doubt they'll have many up their sleeves, and if they can bring one out in game 1, they might catch Good Chi unexpected.
All right. Evie, do you agree? They're going to be guns a-blazing from the gate?
I think it's certainly a possibility. Like, the main thing I want to see from Venom Crest this series, after the rest of the regular season as a whole, is I just need to see a bit more stability out of top lane. Like, Shy has been sort of an anti-point of pressure for Venom Crest, in a sense, insofar as a lot of the time their bot side is very stable, and it's more the top side that's kind of collapsing around him, especially on picks like this Gnar. So I'd like to see a bit more comfort, and what that would mean for Venom Crest would be slightly more unconventional champions like this, the Fiora that we've seen out of Shin, and the Camille, of course. Very high priority in earlier weeks, but not fairly standard bans being taken out to begin with. The Yone, of course, gone. The Nocturne priority at Worlds has been extremely high. And then Olaf, probably the most out there of the bans so far.
Yeah, he's made 1 or 2 appearances in a split so far. The missing piece of the puzzle for both of these teams, then top lane, how to complete the puzzle that the rest of your team can form to get it over the line, to get you into the comfort zone. The first pick from Venom Crest will be a little bit delayed. Maybe
Skarner?
thinking
Drum roll,
about it.
please.
thinking it
Is it just
over.
going to be Skarner?
No. I think Skarner quite likely.
Certainly be Skarner, of course. The priority on Kaiser is extremely high across the board in general at the moment, but I don't know if it's something that Triad Matthew would immediately opt into. It does open you up to a lot of different drafting styles, though, so I'm never sad to see it. That said, quite the opposite of Kaiser. So we move away from these sort of hard carry, divey AD carries, and more towards something a lot more utility oriented. Ashe, another AD carry that leaves the field very open in terms of what you want to do with your top side. It doesn't lock you into any kind of composition, and very highly contested ADC as well. Tends to do quite well into the Kaiser also, so takes that one somewhat off the board. And we won't talk too much about hovers, but this is something I would very much like to see from our resident Jax one trick in solo queue. Shin loves this champion. And Jax Skarner, phenomenal open of a good G.
Well, this guy Keen, he's just locking it in blind. He does not care. Skarner follows the front line. Rory, Jin, Zhao, Gragas, real fast.
I mean, Gragas, yeah, forget the phrase, but you
That
know
Jax
what?
is not having a good time right
Jax.
now.
There we go. We get the words out. Yeah, Gragas just a very standard counter to Jax. Sin Zhao, some mid-game power for Venom Crest, can take objectives like grubs really fast. So really nice there. Can contest the Skarner in the early game, definitely. And then Gucci grabbing a Poppy, almost definitely in support. Just makes a bit of sense. Can capitalize on the low mobility of the Ashe and also prevent much of Venom Crest's disengage. One thing I did want to pick up on is, my understanding is Jax is a fine lane into Olaf. So the Olaf ban I was a little concerned about. Maybe Shin knows.
If you're real skilled, better. Olaf is the counter from the dawn of time.
Is it?
Jax.
Okay,
you don't stand up in a 1v1. The Berserker cares not for the counter strike.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm not.
So, but that's all right. That's I'm having to open my dusty tome of top lane old.
That's old school counters. Of course, we see the Renata taken off the board, and I do quite like this, right? When you're Gucci and you've locked in this Poppy, you've already more or less locked in a ban into the majority of the hard engage supports. Now, you look over to Team Venom Crest right now, you have no hard engage on this side outside of course, the Ashe Arrow. So you're pushed in towards enchanters a little bit here. Renata the best of the enchanters in terms of dealing with straight up, front to back team fighting champions like the Skarner, like the Poppy, that for the most part are approaching you head on. Jax, of course, very good at flanking, but when you're in a position where you don't really want to pick something like the Rel into a Poppy in the bot lane, it's a very hard matchup to play out, especially if you're not constantly dismounted. You don't particularly want to pick an Enchanter either, right? The Enchanter's very good for the lane matchup, but it leaves your composition really short on engage. So it's a strong Poppy R3. The LeBlanc band follow-up is, of course, I mean, it's very, very heavy comfort for Cassandra. And with the Zeri locked in, this is something we've not seen too much recently, but yeah, Sylas is an option on the board in terms of these bruiser melee mid laners that we've seen preference towards in the world's meta, and still very good right now. Of course, does struggle into Poppy, but I mean, he's got some fantastic ults to steal.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see whether it's Quad or Masu's Zeri as that comes through. Rory still leaning towards the engage options. Venom Crest
and Masu both had good Zeri games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we're saying the Nautilus come out. That's pretty general. Venom Crest now really looking for a bit of range to help out this Ashe. Otherwise, you've just got the Death Ball running into a Jackson Poppy here. I don't know. Cassandra looking for a big range. The LeBlanc's obviously gone off the table. I know he's very comfortable on the Sylas, so he might pick that up. But then, yeah, like I said, another frontliner added to the fray, trying to lock down a Zeri. Hwei could be a very good option, capitalizing off the Nautilus CC. Also a very solid blind pick overall.
I think when you were talking about enchanters, I was like, oh, Lulu adds a lot of depth here, but sort of doesn't hold up in that 1v1. It's a bit brittle. Hwei, I think, has to align with the Ashe, which is a bit of a shame for easy farming and easy positioning lanes. But you get this setup where the Ashe will be able to walk nice and fast, has a fear that can peel away from it, and then you've got your Gragasons in there driving forwards here as Silas, our final pick.
Okay, I mean, I'll break this down in the sense that what Venomcrest have is a really good team fighting comp. They lack a little bit in terms of grouped hard engage. The Nautilus is good at finding picks, but the actual engage on the whole is not fantastic. That said, Gucci have kind of set themselves up for a fantastic 1-3-1. We talk about how G2 were best enabling Caps in particular during their high importance games, and it was through giving him champions that are very competent playing out on side lane. Silas is the premier when it comes to that style of champion, at least in terms of magic damage threats right now. Quay, on the other hand, absolutely the opposite. Almost plays like an Anivia in terms of that he wants to 1vx wave clear in mid lane for the majority of the game. So yes, Gragas can match Jax, but who is dealing with the Silas later on?
I'm not personally sure.
I'd even argue with 3 items, Jax is fine into Gragas.
Yeah.
Like, he just has the cooldown reduction, so you can just keep going in, sticking on Grag, even with a 4-second cooldown on belly slam.
Yeah, and I think you get the ability to play the wave a bit as well. There's someone in the back room who we'll meet soon who just says Silas is so good into Way. And I do think, getting on what we've said so far, that if Gucci get engaged and this doesn't get dragged out, they do have the means to start whacking turrets down, start getting across the map, start getting your big objectives in from 20 minutes. The fist fight is strong with this one. With Venomcrest, I'm not really sure they can do extended lanes. They can't spread out as well. If they do group and smash as fast as possible, and it's like Ashe arrows away from long range, everyone else is already there. There's a reasonable chance, but I think coming in from further away, relying on teleports into a fight, it might be a little bit hard to execute.
Especially if Gucci get to objectives first, it's so hard to peel them off. Like, you've got the Silas there, you see the stealing Gragas on Nord ult or Ashe ult, and he's just like, I don't care about your approach, or Poppy just ults you away. So Venomcrest really need to get to these objectives early and set up kill lines.
All right. Venomcrest managed a successful approach. There's bonus points from Rory. Evie, anything else you want to pick out or touch upon?
I mean, mostly for your Venomcrest right now, as we're talking about how difficult it is to engage Gucci if they are first on objective, Venomcrest do have some phenomenal zoning tools themselves. Entering into a space that Venomcrest already occupy over the Hui mini Rumble ult is a really terrifying prospect. When we talk about how Venomcrest were very close to opting into a comp that is effectively just a death ball, on the side of Gucci, you do have 4 melee champions and a Zeri, so they do encounter some similar issues with entering that space. That said, I think Venomcrest, in terms of open space, are only particularly good at finding isolated picks in transition here. They're not the best at starting full-on team fights. So, yeah, they do need to be pretty consistently first to any objective they want to take here. They need to be resetting a lot earlier than you would with a typical composition. Like, they need to constantly be up-tempo on the map if they want to play anything. Otherwise, Gucci will just rip them to shreds and sides.
The difficulty. Getting out to those side lanes, making sure it's going to be the way. We've seen our series predictions, but now with the drafts in, Rory, who's taking down game 1 and how fast?
I think Gucci are winning this sub 30 minutes.
Okay, so we're not entering the Venomcrest zone, Evie.
No.
Yeah, I'm struggling to enter the Venomcrest zone on this one. They do have some strong lanes in general, right? This Gragas into Jax, a fantastic lane counter, and Zinzao very good at scrapping with Skarner early. So if they're allowed to play around the bot side fights, for example, and we see the 3v3 early game, Ashe, phenomenal early game champion, Zinzao very good in that skirmish, and Zeri is not particularly online before 3 items, but if they can't accelerate through bot side, I think it's Gucci all the way. And I do still have concerns, given we've seen Shy in counter matchups quite regularly still struggle in those counter matchups, and we're still moving away from the heavier comfort champions like the Camille, so I'm not completely sold on it. I think this one's probably good cheese. I don't know about sub 30, but we'll say, I was really close last time with time prediction. I'm going to take a shot at 34. Yeah, I was like 20 seconds off
Gotta
last
get that
time.
in right
Yeah,
here.
it was
Sneak that one in.
so close, so close. With a minute to go, we've got our predictions in. Everyone thinks it's going to be good Chi, and it's going to be on the faster end of our teams. Probably looks like a more standard game, which is completely fine. It's the way it's going to go. Had our time predictions in nice and fast. This is me going through a mental checklist. Welcome to playoffs. It's been a long day at work. I think we're going to kick it over to our casters. Thank you both. We'll see you with the replays you've selected and anything else we can get on the desk after the game. I'm going to throw it to our casters, which is also me. Hey, I'm still here. Drake, how you doing?
I'm good. I mean, that was like a magic trick, honestly. The other two disappeared. You stayed here. It was a smooth transition. And I mean, talking about smooth transitions, we're finally moving into playoffs here. I'm really excited to see it kick off. I haven't seen too much of Good Cheat. Glad to see the other side of the bracket finally. I've seen so much of Venom Crest. And I don't know if I'm going to be seeing a lot more. I mean, this draft, it seems like everybody's a little bit Good Cheat sided on the analysis of that one, huh?
Yeah, do you agree with it? You a big fan?
I mean, as you mentioned, backstage, I was typing up a storm a little bit on the Silas. It is personal experience, so it's not backed up by stats at all. I looked on U.GG. Actually, Hui has like a 53% win rate into the Silas in solo queue, which is a very different environment,
Mm.
right?
I feel
But
Hue is a bit solo queue skewed. He's very,
yeah,
very good when everyone else hasn't got everything all on the
it's
same
true.
page. Fantastic at disrupting slightly
Mm.
uncoordinated coming forwards that we often manage in duos, or the two solos who's on the
Mm.
same page. It's like, I could read his mind, but still got feared. I think the draft quality was pretty high. I think
Yeah.
it's not definitely not doomed for Venom Crest. I'd say
Mhm.
they're at disadvantage, but Jinzhao Gragas, what a fantastic dueling pair that can just like be up in a front line, not worry about their own health bars, and try and like score position and
Mhm.
score like miniature advantages that then translate to the Zeri going missing very quickly, especially if she's not on for a stride breaker
Mm.
or a similar build.
Yeah, and I mean that's like not to mention the other side, right? Like Gucci do have strengths as well in the top jungle 2v2 situation with the Jack
Mm,
Skarner. Skarner, our premier pick, we've seen a lot in this season of UKAL. We still see it in Worlds, like it's 2 patches later, and they still haven't nerfed it enough clearly.
yeah.
But this champion just absolutely rampaging through the rift, and I mean, getting through. Jack's kind of a strong carry champion if he's able to come online. It's going to be an interesting one to see play out. I'm more curious actually on whether Ben and Crest are able to get this Ash online and whether those arrows are going to be coming through, because that makes it so difficult for this area to play, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like she only gets one clean dash back. The rest
Mm.
of it is like I have to ult and I have to start kiting and it's Zeri time. So you've only got that like one sort
Mm.
of get out of jail free card before you're expending big cooldowns. I don't think Gragas and Jinzhou really have to care too much, especially
Mhm.
with the low cooldowns that they both sort of get to around that 1-2 item mark. We do have a small technical issue, so we're just getting everything sorted out and everything on the screen. We
Oh,
are going to
no.
go to a quick
Yeah.
break. We'll be back in a few minutes, and then the Four Nations playoffs will be underway. Don't touch that browser. We're going to be back so soon.
Hello,
All
everybody.
right. We're
Oh,
here. It's
we
you.
are.
It's me.
And it's the gamers, all 10 of them, on our screens.
Magical. So we oh gosh, goodbye tryhard Matthew. That farm's not yours.
Yeah, and I mean, to catch us up to speed, it looks like 1 kill on either side. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. Dragon got picked up. You said it was a little bit more Venom Crest of an early game. I think it's going to be Venom Crest on our left side of our screens, though, and it's going to be Gucci
Yes,
on the right
so
side.
it's all right. We'll get that flipped. There was a last
Yeah.
minute change. Gucci did choose red side.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. You know, they got a decent R3. They were going for a Silas on R5. Was pretty choice for Chova.
Well, speaking of Chover, looks like
I have cursed this man
I mean, you
so
have
badly.
Reeton is here. I mean, there's no damage to follow up, right? The ult came out from Paul George, but Hui not going to be doing too much damage. I mean, that is going to be an early Merc Tread's already completed for Silas, so Bro is not taking any damage from Hui just yet.
Not to be. And we sort of see Shin doing pretty well here. There was Too Shy's credit, a lot of criticism, pretty fairly thrown over the course of the season. He did have a pretty nasty outplay earlier. Has left him a little bit disadvantaged. Heading backwards and forwards continues.
I mean, this lane actually does look difficult for Silas. I was talking about it earlier. My personal experience might be slightly different and slightly skewed from how well this champion actually performs in the lane, and it looks like Paul George doing really well so far. I mean, I feel like Chover can just
Enchanting Crystal Arrow,
oh my goodness,
goes wide.
so many abilities.
Really?
Missing.
I think
Flash
every
is-
time,
I mean,
every
that's flash
time,
out of him though.
yeah, every time we say it's going fine, suddenly,
Oh, Scouse is here, and Shin is trying to get a kill here onto Hazard, but a good ultimate from the Zinzao, buying a little bit of time. Paul George in range to be able to do a little bit of damage, though, and that's going to be a very low Scouse. That's going to be Water moving in. That's going to be Nautilus dead. Hazard low and walking away. Shy trying to find the re-engage, and Water left on his lonesome, actually going to get taken out in the end. Hazard picks that one up for himself. It'll be a 1-for-1 in the end.
yeah, both supports in real deep there. It looks like we have been leaning towards some Reeton magic. The roams to try and force the issue in mid lane. The extra wave in here as Paul George stuck around to help secure the objective and prevent any shenanigans. Does mean they go about even, but I think, yeah, Gucci not able to secure all 6 grubs. unfortunately, just bringing the game back to an even standstill.
Yeah, I think evening things up, but overall a win for Venom Crest, right? They're going to be really, really happy to be denying that 6 scrubs, especially considering that we were talking about in the desk. Yeah, the split push pressure from Good Chi, even the Silas, right? So
yeah,
making sure that those guys can't thrive in a side lane, super, super good for Venom Crest.
feels pretty good. Black Fire torch through already for Paul George. I'm thinking of some sort of pop reference, but it's all gone. It's no yellow submarines tonight.
Right. Say it's up in flames. Either way.
Coalescing Good Chi around the spot lane. They will be spotted as Chova is on a ward.
Oh, Chover might not care though. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is picked up, and that's going to be an Ashe not allowed to move for a century. It's going to be Chover picking up the kill, and Good Chi moving towards that dragon.
Yeah, it's a huge explosive play down there. Hazard not able to get over in time. Was not quite ready for his ultimate, so was getting that one sort of ready before making a play, before making the move. Will try and find Maro isolated here.
I mean, he might even succeed. Okay, never mind. Hazard not going to be able to follow up because of the TP coming out from Shin, and that's just going to be dead Reeton on our screens, and that's going to be Good Chi capitalizing on what Venom Crest thought might have been a good play.
Yeah, they thought, you know, oh, they're on the dragon, they've left them alone, but instead, the sort of knowledge to know that if they do go back in, they get that kill, they get that takedown, they defend that carry, will be able to now take the dragon more securely and push another few waves into Venom Crest Towers. That gold lead a little bit larger, and Water going further.
Yeah, Paul George does a flash. We'll be able to get out in time. And that's going to be a TP coming out from Venom Crest. This time, Shin might be in a little bit of danger. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow able to land on the Poppy, though. And that might just mean the death of this poor support for the side of Good Chi. Water with the flash away. The W to connect from Hazard, and that will be a kill picked up. Nautilus looking for the engage, and it's just going to be another kill picked up by the side of Venom Crest, this time for Paul George. And, I mean, they're starting to come online.
Yeah, Shin thought he was safe. Not quite to be. Scarce did secure the dragon in the end, but did lose one of his teammates while taking it. Not the one you'd expect from the start of that dragon. A troubled setup. Does leave Venom Crest now even on gold with Good Chi. A dragon apiece. I think we got a pretty fair game on our hands, Drake.
Spicy one at that as well. Mountain Dragon going to be the soul that's on the cards for these two teams. It's going to be quite a threat if the dragon stacking does eventually start for one of them. And they really don't want to let either team get these Mountain Dragons picked up. So many resistances. I mean, it just means that you're going to win these team fights when you're playing against stuff like the Hui, like the Ashe, right? And you're trying to avoid that poke. If you have Mountain Dragon, it's so easy. Hold on. It's going to be an engage coming down onto Reeton. This might just be a very dead Nautilus on our screens. Bro just got deleted. Hazard on the run, and that means that I think this Rift Herald will get picked up by Good Chi eventually.
Yeah, they'll manage to shove mid in as well. And so far, it's been 2 ultimates stolen by Chova. They'll, you know, do a bit of damage, especially the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Could do so much more when Silas's AP ratios empower them. Go a bit further. And even with this little bit of AP, I think that Ashe Arrow in the bot lane really was just a point-blank nuke. Very, very powerful. Things down onto towers from members of Venom Crest, but they will find Good Chi rotating back into mid.
And I think Matthew has to be careful walking up here. Chover still has the Nautilus ult, and I mean, flash and barrier available for Matthew. Doesn't mean too much against a Silas in a 1v1, but no mana.
Yeah.
I mean, Chover's just going to reset, and looks like it's going to be Good Chi putting the pressure down with these waves.
Would you say it would be respectful, demure, kind?
Yeah.
Thoughtful?
Cutesy even.
I couldn't remember the last one. Shin's eviscerated the first turret while we weren't sure. Pre-Triforce, by the way.
Yeah, that is a disgusting Jax.
So we're looking forward to how much damage this Jax does to towers. It's going to be pretty huge. Should have that item in pocket now, though. It will be a quick recall after this wave, I imagine. Looking across the map, pings down onto the bottom lane, and everyone slowly drifting towards this Ashe.
Yeah, and gold allocation. Okay, well, never mind. I'm not going to be able to talk about that. Chover's in a little bit of danger with a good dodge away from that arrow. Might be in safety now as you see the Poppy moving in. Might actually be a turn here onto water if he steps up.
Oh, this is deep.
Comfortably.
This is deep. I don't think he hasn't seen him coming just yet. Maybe did on that deeper ward, but it's been a while, so I wouldn't be sure if the Poppy's still there. Everyone's going to go back to farming their camps. A bit of an odd timing as the waves about to be deleted. Everyone moving back up to contest mid now.
Yeah, and Reeton has to be careful here. Water moving in, might be able to find something. Finds an E onto Matthew, but it's not going to be a pin. Chover over the wall trying to get some damage down. The TP in from Sorry I'm Scouse, or not from Sorry I'm Scouse. It's going to be from the side of Venomcrest, but the fight's going to go the way of Good Chi for now. Sorry I'm Scouse still alive. Ash in the grave. Jack's picking that one up for themselves. Chover going to be able to finish off Reeton. And Water over the wall, able to find a pin onto Shy, and it might just be a little bit more follow-up. The good Gragas cast steal from Chover, and the follow-up onto Shy. It's going to be 2 kills going the way of Good Chi, and they're feeling darn good moving forward.
Good Chi just about managed to keep the split together there. I am slightly stuttering and speechless because that looked so much like they were going to be in trouble, like the Ash was going to be able to open up on the front line. While Saramskas absolutely nailed Paul George there and was able to cut the way out from managing the front line, I was like, it's Ash's day. Instead, stolen Gragas cask, front to back, looking great from Good Chi right now. They'll take a 3,000 gold lead. Reeton should just be able to stop some backs, but it's commiseration prizes here as Chova and crew managed to absolutely play through Venomcrest's front line.
Yeah, and maybe Matthew can finish off this turret. Might not get punished for it, so might get something back on the board for Venomcrest. But yeah, that fight, so good Chi-sided. And moving forward, that's going to be a 4-kill lead, around 3,000 gold lead. And, you know, possession over the agency on the map, right? They have so much control over this bottom side. They have so much vision. They can move towards this dragon and relatively uncontested, I have to feel.
Yeah, the desk also mentioned, I can't remember if it was just before we flicked that camera zone or after, that top laners for these two teams tend to teleport back to lane. They tend to try and acquire that individual power and swing it up later. It's that late game team fighting style that we were talking about, as Venomcrest snakes in the pit here waiting. Won't quite catch Chova unawares. He just see that one in the outback. Not just going to go stepping on random bushes. And yeah, we've just seen fantastic teleports from Shin since we've dialed back into this game. And it's looking really good for Good Chi right here.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see that Venomcrest are apt at making snap decisions to kind of reply to what Good Chi throw at them, but it is going to be Good Chi in the driver's seat, which means that they have the quicker response on the map, right? They can get that tier 2 bot in exchange for that tier 1 top as well as the dragon. So overall, it's just Good Chi making the first move, and it allows them to actually get a better play, even if there is a response coming out from Venomcrest, and it looks so darn good so far.
All right, we didn't talk much about the dragon. It was a complete non-contest to Shy down on that bottom side. Not enough of a unit on his own, and I don't think the way teleport in would have really helped Venomcrest acquire that position. We spoke about the approach, the difficulty into getting Good Chi off an objective they've already acquired. And in fair fashion, Venomcrest just let that one go and try and keep scaling up and farming direct gold acquisition while Chi waited the objective.
Yeah, and I would say maybe looking more recollectively at the draft, it's a bit sad that Venomcrest weren't able to respond to how much melee Good Chi actually did draft, right? Like, they have 4 meatballs that just want to go in on their team comp, and Zeri kind of wants to follow along with that path. And they don't really have enough spacing, I would say. I mean, you know, Nautilus does a little bit of CC. Shy obviously going to be a good bodyguard with the body slam, but overall, there's nothing really to stop Good Chi from just running over this Venomcrest team comp.
It's really hard. You've got Gragas and Jinzhao's bodies. The ultimate from Jinzhao does buy a lot of space, but you've got so much, as you mentioned, to actually mitigate. It becomes quite difficult, even with all of these cooldowns, even with Ash. I think if you do get into the zone, the Ash will be able to quickly deal with it. You got to hold that range. It's going to be real difficult. As you see them wave coming in mid, pings towards the Baron. I'm curious here. I'm taking a moment to see if Good Chi snap start this. They will. I don't know if that's.
Were they on vision? It's so hard. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well, they are now.
I think, yeah, all those pings you can just about see around the corner of the wall in front of Baron. His headrest, if you will. Sure, that's where he sleeps at night. Just, you know, gently putting his head down. Cool.
But, I mean, it just shows how much control Good Chi have over the map right now, which, by the way, at 21 minutes, they are in enemy jungle. Chover is TPing in enemy jungle? I mean, we got Xin Zhao ult. We know Xin Zhao's bot. I guess that means that Good Chi are going to move over towards that Baron and get it started up.
Yeah, I think
the team fight goes their way
now, right? And was like, I don't need to be here anymore. This is enough.
Yeah.
The approach now, we've mentioned this a few times. Point of difficulty, the Nautilus ult will be taken. The 3 members of Good Chi are just providing bouncing here. They're guarding the door.
They are, and I mean, not really punching it down or punching the dragon down either. And it looks like they're trying to sniff for a fight. Do find Reeton, and it might be Water in the grave. It's going to be Chover stopped by Shy on the opposite side, and Water low running away, but the Ash is getting caught. Matthew with the flash away, but there's so much to follow up, and Chover's doing the damage. It's going to be Water into the backline, but it's going to be Ash still alive. It's going to be Shy taken out first. It's going to be Poppy on the opposite side. It's going to be Nautilus going down next. A double kill for Zeri for now, but it will be Jax taken down in the end. Hazard trying to get some damage back. Sorry, I'm Scouse on the run, but Paul George there to finish them off. And it will be Venom Crest winning out in this team fight.
Good cheese, too late to apologize. Scouse or not, unfortunately not quite respecting the 22 minutes with this many items through. That 2-2 tower does add a chunk, and Venom Crest's 6th member denies the dive, pushes them back. And with combination, Triad Matthew gets out alive. And Paul George picks up a few more assists.
I mean, this is delivering for the first game of a series. That's all I have to say. Like, we were talking about this being, I mean, Venom Crest.
Snap Baron attempts?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And I mean, not to mention the team fight that gets flipped on its head, and the team that was considered to be losing is now winning a team fight. Like, this is exciting to watch, and it's good to see that Venom Crest maybe have found their mojo after an entire season of the UKEL. When it matters, it looks like they're able to step up.
I wish Brother Second Tower would help me out more in Salt. I'm not gonna lie. If he could just like teleport in right behind me, that'd be
that's what I'm saying.
Really nice.
Get that 6v5 going. It's perfect.
That's what I need. What I need. Things down. Teleports. Pretty much there for Venom Crest. 2-0. You know, massive teleport advantage. I do respect that they haven't just committed to the sides though. This is where cheese composition is favored. Using these 2 teleports when you're not just coming in from a side lane does make things a bit harder. We could be looking at Venom Crest trying a Snap Baron of their own if they do find a way through Good Cheese Vision. They will lose. Oh, just rest in peace, MVP.
Yeah, I was going to say, Big Brother Second Tower taken down.
He's done so much for us this game. We salute you.
But finally off the map, I mean,
Venom Crest 6th man.
The 6th man doesn't respawn. That's what's important here for Good Cheese.
It's a real shame. Their revenge, swift, cold, in about 2 minutes after the fact.
But I mean, still down in gold is Venom Crest, and now that they don't have that turret to protect them, the map's blown quite wide open. They're trying to get a collapse here on Shin, but it was an Ash E, not an Ash Arrow, so sadly it is going to be Jax getting out alive. Yeah, it's going to be Silas on this bottom side.
Could be the Snap Baron for Venom Crest. I was wondering. They have found their way through the vision. Only Wolves still covered. Gucci will arrive at the Dragon on time. They got the push in. They got half their vision moved over. So they no longer have that deep setup on the Baron. But it seems to be all they wrote. The members of Venom Crest taking it slow, taking it easy. They want to get to that comfort zone. They want to see a 4 at the start of our clock once again. And to really dig deep and try and force out a mechanical error from Gucci. And you mentioned the gold. It's getting hard. Those items are starting to stack up. I'm looking at Shin right now, an absolute monster.
I mean, man, I was looking at Morrow. I mean, you were talking about comfortability. This is going to be a 3-item Zeri. Like, I don't want to walk up ever if I'm Venom Crest, I'm going to be honest.
Like, I would like to not be electrocuted today.
Yeah, it's the shredder right there.
Oh,
I mean,
nearly a 3,000 lead, 2,000 in the top lane.
Disgusting.
So despite the goal being close, I guess that might be Paul George and Shin. Paul George and Chova that are pretty close. Everyone else, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, it is actually going to be Scouse a little bit behind in the gold department, but I feel like Hazard probably as impactful with 2,000 of a gold lead on the Xin Zhao. I feel like Skarner a lot more of a utility champion, right? Doesn't need that gold. For
sure. Xin Zhao is not holding people still for sort of like a big explosion combo.
Yeah.
He's like, I am attacking Europe in the air. Now that's pressure, but it's probably not going to be the whole solution.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to see, as it looks like Gucci are gearing up for a fight, recognizing that they have a bit of a wallet to slap the enemy team with. And
yeah, I think if we did have Chova on that top wave right now, and then sort of did a breathing motion back in and out of the jungle, that would be good. But they're going in, they're going deep.
Reeton has flash and was positioning like he didn't want to use it, but did use it in the end. Nautilus ult on Chover, and it might just be an engage coming out. The knockup onto 2. Matthew stunned up for an eternity yet again, and Hazard might get caught in the crossfire trying to get away. The flash is forward from the side of Good Chi, but it might prove fatal for Paul George. Not quite taken out yet. The shield coming out, but
Oh!
Morrow over the top, able to finish him off with the aggressive play. And Nautilus in the grave as well. Good Chi winning out. Chover still alive on that front line. Shy trying to trade back. Water trying to get some damage done. Morrow moving forward. Chover still moving forward. Into the back line goes Shin, and it'll be the Xin Zhao taking out Shy, the last remaining member of Venom Crest. Water still alive. All 5 members of Good Chi moving, and they're looking to move into the enemy base.
Yeah, did the dangerous diving Geo, Chover, and Morrow straight over the top. Pull the Ashe out. They weren't going for the macro play like I thought might be better. They weren't going for the top side. They were going for blood. They were going for the Nexus.
Yeah, they're going for the game here, and they still have a 5v3 for now, but the respawn timers are coming out. You gotta hit that Nexus, and I think they'll be able to do so. Good G, go up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series.
All right. I think we owe Rory an apology here, as I believe his
30
prediction
minutes.
was just under 30 minutes, and I
Yep.
don't think I could have got it closer if I tried. Drake, that was a powerful game one. I think Venom Crest showed they can stand up to this. They maybe need to rethink the way we sort of do disengage and dive and commit themselves to the fight. It was a good first attempt. What'd you think?
Yeah, it really was. Like we were mentioning, Good Chi actually looked quite strong in that game. It looked like they had avenues back in, and it looked like they were able to win a few of those team fights, even being down and out in the gold department. So definitely a good showing for the first game of this best of 3
Yeah.
series. They have time to develop. You know, it's not the best of 2s anymore. It's not the best of 1s. They can actually improve.
I think I am excited to see what they've cooked up in the second side, as they will now have side selection. And you'll hear what I'm thinking on the desk in a few minutes after we kick it to this break. we're back on the desk. I'm still here. And look who's back. We got Evie, we got Rory B. Congratulations, Rory. I'm pretty sure it was your prediction. Oh, that was right on the money. Evie, is it going to be game 2 of Venom Crest coming back in here? That looked pretty good to me.
You know, that's one of the best Venom Crest games I can remember them playing this split, if not the best. They had constructed passages of play. It felt like they were prepared to initiate plays themselves instead of just waiting for Good Chi to stumble over themselves and die. So that alone gives me hope for Venom Crest. It makes me feel like they can come back in a game 2. I think, they're swapping to red side. They do have side select. They will be moving over to red for game 2, and I think it gives them a little bit more flexibility. I think in general, Venom Crest's draft on the whole has looked better on red. So yeah, I don't think this one's dead just yet.
Rory, we're contesting red side.
Yeah.
She chose red in game 1. And Venom Crest in game 2. What's going on? That's not what happens in the Worlds.
No, it's not. And I think it really comes down to these players putting priority in different roles. These players seem to be favoring red side because it means top lane gets a much better matchup. And honestly, I'm for it. It's a bit scary though, with now giving away the Skarner or being forced to ban it. But
is it? Are you sure about top? Because Jax was R1. Jax was straight in there.
Mid in this case, right? So the Silas is fantastic on R5 in this game, and it's one of those things where you can afford to warp your draft around a little bit, whichever solo laner you feel like not necessarily needs for help, but can be given a champion that's a bit more draft warping. In this case, Silas is one of the most draft warping champions in the game, and you can kind of wait it out as long as you want and see, okay, accidentally they have 3 or 4 phenomenal ultimates for the champion, so it works out well for them here. As to whether Venom Crest choose to maintain kind of like the priority that they tend to have on trying to get mid lane good matchups, because I feel like that's when they're at their best.
I'm going to say sorry for cutting you off as well, Roy. Yeah. I fully expect Venom Crest to slam top R5 and like keep that as late as possible, which is exactly what you're alluding to. We're going to go over the first replay here. Evie, take us through this. This is about 16 minutes. We're going to see a bit of stylish play.
Absolutely. So up until this point, the game is really even, right? It's a very close game with 4 kills apiece, and Venom Crest having some shaky moments for the last few minutes, start to find their way back in. However, Water, as has been the theme for most of this game, sees Hero and decides, I'm going to kill Hero. Shin straight onto the backline, and there's no peel for this Ashe available right now, and I mean, unfortunately, the Jax versus Ashe matchup, it's extremely rare that Ashe is ever going to come out on top. But what that means is in the front line, as soon as Water gets battle off, Chover's allowed to just rip through champions one by one. With stealing that Gragas cask, it's a phenomenal explosive barrel, and I mean, Chover now goes up to 4-0 from this point in the game. So we see that Cassandra is actually having a really good time of things in mid lane, right? We talk about the Sylas Quay matchup typically being a little bit Sylas favored, but Cassandra's having a fantastic time. Unfortunately, he can't stop Chover leaving and getting fed elsewhere. And from this point onwards, Chover is pretty much laughing. 4-0 on Sylas, very little can kill you. And well, that's more or less the run of the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think Gucci sort of aligned their sort of diving duo really well with this pieces of CC around them, and they were pretty creative. And Rory, in this final passage of play, it threads together so nicely.
Right, so I don't know if we're going to catch so we're going to start with Reeton just in the no-no zone of the jungle. Completely caught out, forced to flash there, and that's one of your primary engagers. Then we see Chova, really nice angle with the stolen Nautilus ult. Hazard's not able to throw his ult in reaction because of the knockup, and immediately once Matthew's gone, you've lost your your second highest damaging champion. And then Huey just walks up way too far. He's out of the fight, and then it's just, all you've got is the fat man that is Gragas with the Thimble Winter, does no damage. Hazard's half HP, he can't do anything, and your Nautilus melted because he already burned Flash 3 seconds ago.
Yeah,
so from here, it's just
I have an admission. As we come back to cameras and the Nexus explodes, I need to get my eyes tested. Because was that Maro flipping over the wall for the lethal onto Paul George? Or was that Tony Hawk? Was that the man himself? just dropping that 720 there. That's I need to get these checked.
Yeah, that was Maro was having a really good time with this matchup, right? We talk about Ashe Zeri, and typically Ashe tends to have a run of things early game. Ashe is very, very good at bullying Zeri out. However, we see the Swifty boots come out very, very early on Zeri, before the Shiv is even finished, because Maro, with the CS lead that he has, ends up prioritizing the ability to not die in the 1v1, as opposed to being able to push waves really, really quickly. So, I mean, I'm not completely certain what happened in that first 10 minutes before we got to get involved. When we joined the game,
I believe the word in my ear was a successful bot lane dive, which is.
I mean, successful bot lane dive.
So
Successful bot lane dive would make sense. However, the issue is when we joined the game there, Zeri is sitting on about a 25 CS lead already, and that's a little abnormal in this one. Maro actually coming through the entire early game on about 11 CS per minute. He's chilling, he's cool in this early game, and when Zeri's allowed to play for free, well, we all know what 3 items Zeri can do.
Rory, the Poppy was the victim of the early game dive. You think it was valuable enough, like, even though it donated some gold and, you know, wasn't going itself? Is that the presence in the 2v2? Is that normally how this goes?
So it would have been fine if the Poppy died if the Zeri got the kill. Unfortunately, the Skarner got the kill. So actually,
Yeah.
Ashe being 300 gold up injected there, even if she's dying, is kind of fine with how little gold early game minions give. Comparative to a kill. But then we weren't able to see the lane state. But somehow, an Ashe with a longer range than a Zeri was able to get bullied off a wave. And also,
one for
was
the
scared
review,
to
maybe.
force his Poppy.
Mm.
Yeah,
One for the review.
or maybe one for the practice tool and just last hitting waves.
Yeah,
that
I'd
could
love it
also
if
be
we
in
could
there.
just like 1v1 in there and spawn in and be like, you know, contest me. That's I dream, Riot Games. I have no inside information, and I just have dreams. Let's look forward to game 2 now.
Yeah.
Venom Crest have chosen red. I think they're probably going to use that to try and secure something for top. I think the Poppy movement and the double bands behind it, really, really good. Evie, which move have they chosen the red side for? What is the big swing here for Venom Crest?
What I will say is I don't want to see this Jax again. I think this is a champion that Shin is extremely comfortable on, and demonstrably, Shy is not confident enough in the matchup to opt into the build that you need to be building if you want to win this matchup as Gragas, right? Gragas, in this meta, does not really have the ability to index into this more tank-heavy build. We don't see pure tanks in top lane that regularly at the moment. The biggest pure tanks that we tend to see are Cassante. Cassante has pretty significant damage by himself. Of course, Ornn occasionally shows up, but this is another champion that has fantastic damage. As soon as you go down this Rod of Ages Fimbulwinter pathway, we saw it at the end, right? Gragas is throwing barrels at the wave and doing about 10% damage to minions. So either you need to demonstrate that you have something else prepared for this Jax, and you're willing to give it away to Shen again, in spite of it being a very, very heavy comfort champion for him, or you have to get it gone. You have to get Shin on something else. And I want to, like, if there is a time for us to show Shy's more skill-expressive, high mechanics champions, the Camille, the Fiora, this is the time. You have red side in a 0-1 situation in a best-of-3 series. This is the time.
So,
all right, the deep swing, Rory. What else we got?
I think Venom Crest need to keep some of their bot lane for post bans. Honestly, I'd be fine. I think Matthew has a deep enough champ pool that he can make it into R4 or even R5. I wouldn't be shocked if we're seeing R1, R2. If it gets through bans, we're seeing Viego LeBlanc clocked in. Just hyper comfort for Venom Crest. Then Shy, chances are, just defaults to the Gnar. Maybe that's later on in like R5 and just say, you know what, Gnar is fine here.
We're gonna get the right side of the triangle, right? We're gonna try and twist that slightly. If we're leaving Matthew down, just going through my head, I think R3 you have to like jam the support and you have to defend it well. And ding ding ding, that's Jax gone.
That's unsurprising. When they've shown that they're prepared to pick it completely blind, I think it's reasonable to remove, because this is a potential B1 for Gucci. We see the Olaf ban repeated. Again, this could allude to the fact that they're quite happy to take the Jax blind, and by removing the Olaf, the Jax ban is forced. But the rest of this is looking pretty familiar. Viscana gone this time, though. They do not want to see that in the hands of Scouse.
All right, Rory, it can't be blue on Jax, which is maybe my
It
favorite
might be blue on
original
Nocturne
sentence
then.
of the day.
Depending
Huh?
on bans, Scouse does play the Nocturne considerably, and now it's getting banned. We may see something like an early ADC pick for Marrow here. I wouldn't be against it, but no, Chovis Syndra, he
Syndra
shows
got
it a lot.
through. That was the
Um,
ban that we swapped out the
yeah.
Jax for.
But we've seen him perform very well on this pick, so I'd be all for it. If, like, Cassandra isn't able to play into it, but, I mean, Syndra's quite weak into Assassins, and Cassandra has shown that he can play Assassins quite successfully.
Worth noting LeBlanc open.
Yeah. If this is Viego LeBlanc, I'm going to be very happy.
Yeah, that is a gold star medal. If this is Viego LeBlanc, and the thing is, LeBlanc tends to have a pretty happy time into the Syndra. The matchup is far from perfect, but you can approach her from unique angles with the Mimic Distortion, so I would not be upset seeing a LeBlanc early here. Jarvan, however, the hover, and this is a champion that does make comps very easy to execute, right? Syndra, quite happy to shuffle Jarvan out of his flag and drag, but she can't stop the ultimate happening, and well, that's for LeBlanc locked in.
Yeah, you only get to scatter 1 week, or a wedge of very close week. Depends if you want the pizza slice or the orb to catch someone out. Sejuani and Poppy, we got some flexible tanks, we got some engage, we got some denial going on. Rory, Good Chia got a second phase where they have to load damage into this
I'm hoping Venom Crest ban Gwen here. Just as more of a denial. Maybe they are 5 the Gwen. But you really want LeBlanc to be that primary AP champ. The Seraphine now being locked in blind. We were saying in the green room last game that Seraphine would have done great in replacement of the Nautilus on Return. So I'm a bit surprised to see that so early in the draft, but as it's not normally a banned out champ. But you know what? Fine, we're seeing now Camille bans. I definitely don't expect Venom Crest to go Gwen now with so much AP. So I actually expect it to get banned out here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see the Camille removed. This is another champion that Shin has shown extremely high proficiency on. The Ashe ban makes sense. Right? We don't want to see Ashe Seraphine if you're playing on the side of Gucci, especially if you're playing Poppy. You can look at this through the lens of, okay, assume that Seraphine Senna still very playable, still pretty happy to play into the Poppy. And with the Shen removed instead, I mean, yeah, there goes the Gwen. I'm not surprised to see this removed. I mean, even with quite a lot of magic damage on the side of Venom Crest already, Gwen tends to slot into most comps pretty happily, because so much of her damage is true damage. Now, I still do not expect to see top lane picked on R4 here. I think you're quite happy to break the Seraphine ADC support flex. I think you want to get Shy a good matchup in top lane. I think you can opt into the Senna, but you can treat Seraphine as just a support instead. You do also have champions like Tahm Kench, no dash, very happy to play into Poppy, and Seraphine is an absolutely phenomenal lane pairing for him, but that is, well.
Why not?
We are throwing Shy to the wolves somewhat here, because for a still
It's an
quite
Aurelia game.
to keep this alive. Yeah, this is a phenomenal Aurelia game, low-key.
I think Aurelia is been just below the meta for such a long time. We know Stridebreaker and Blade is just such an agreeable item choice, and it's her bread and butter. And I still have to put up with it in solo queue, so why shouldn't everyone else have to watch it in competitive?
Unironically, Shin could go something like a Wukong here. Would actually work very well, but actually just jams the Scion into the counterpick, says, I do not care. We need more tanks on our team. What are we seeing here as the AD carry? It has to be someone who's really pumping out the damage. Might be a Jinx to deal with Seraphine's range, but feels a bit rough here.
You got lots of tools for Jinx.
Yeah.
Difficulty of the approach from the LeBlanc goes up with the Poppy and the Sejuani. It's still present. I like the Xayah. It's something we've seen at Worlds. It sort of invites Venom Crest to unlock Kaiser at the end of the draft, which would be, odd flexibility, but doable.
I'm so down for a Vayne here. You have no idea.
Ooh,
that's
a good shout.
That is a shout. The movement, the ability, Scatter the Weak doesn't really apply when you're strong enough to just gamble out the way.
I don't think this can be Seraphine in a carry position. I think your comp lacks consistent DPS if you put Seraphine in a carry position. You've tied yourself to Seraphine support. And well, we were talking about the Jinx for good chi, but ends up showing up for Venom Crest, and I don't hate it. It's going to take quite a while to scale into this game, though, with the amount of tanks on the side of good chi with that Scion lock-in. And this now is the test for Shy, right? You have a matchup that for Gnar, typically speaking, is pretty easy to play out. You have a champion that has % max health damage. You have the option of just going Trinity Force, bullying Scion on the side lane, and winning this game through sides, because no other champion on that team is really comfortable matching you. If Shy wants to carry this game, he has all the tools to do so, and we need to see it now.
All right. No pressure for Shy and Venom Crest in game 2. The winner of this best of 3 series will be proceeding to the upper bracket to play off against some of our other teams who have already made their way through with higher group placings. The loser will drop to the lower bracket and be on their last chance. Oh man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be close.
I have a feeling we're seeing Scion bot lane level 1 shenanigans. I don't care that he's into a Gnar. That's not going to process. That's not going to... Maybe I should keep my TP for the Gnar pushing. Nah, we're still seeing a Scion bush tack. I'm sure of it.
With that spice, with that cheese in mind, Rory, who's got your vote? Who's got your confidence here after the game 2 draft?
It's hard for me to say, but I actually think as a whole Venom Crest have an edge in this match.
Okay. Standing Venom Crest?
I did not mean to make it sound like that hurted me to say.
It sounded
I
painful.
was being very cautious with my
It's been a
wording.
long day. It's okay. Oh god, what was my I came out with a cork earlier. I was like I just got 2 words completely wrong around, and it was not a sentence in English. Evie, talking of English, who's winning the game?
Who's winning the game?
Or
I mean,
potentially.
I called it 2-1, and it has to be said, I think if Venom Crest are winning a game, well, for one, it would have to be this one, but also they've set themselves up with a draft that is more than functional to do so, right? They have pretty good lanes, they have relatively good team fights as the game goes on. I think they have the answer to Scion in side lane. They've got some players on very heavy comfort champions here, right? We're seeing the LeBlanc coming out for Cassandra, and I mean, I would need to see Good Chi execute at a significantly higher level than Venom Crest to see this draft play out well for them. Now, granted, for the majority of the split, that has been the case. I feel like Good Chi has looked like the better team, but Venom Crest showed more than a few signs of life in the last one. So, I'm kind of edging towards Venom Crest here.
Yeah, I think the confidence in Venom Crest very warranted. I think LeBlanc into Jinx is just a powerful combination, being able to upset the opponents, and then you've got this massive hammer to swing come time.
I will add his LeBlanc into Zaya, but then again,
Oh,
Zaya's
you got to
LeBlanc
approach the
job.
Syndra. That's my scat of the week now. Oh, I'm not there anymore. Great time to start a mess with these powerful cooldowns that Gucci have aligned themselves with. I'm super on the fence. I think if it is going to be 3 games, not only is it got to be here, this is looking way better than game 1. I think it's looking way more in flavor, and the value of red side and that creativity looking so strong. We are going to kick it to a quick break as we get the game sorted, as we get everyone into lobby, as we are having a few more issues tonight, and that's okay. Put your kettle on. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the UKEL Four Nations playoffs day one, or at least this is the cross group stage. My name is Drake. I'm joined again by Temporal, and well, the draft just went through. If you guys forgot about it, it's a pretty even one this time. Venom Crest looking a little bit stronger in this draft, I feel like, and I'm not really sure who's going to take this one.
Yeah, it's close. I do want to clarify. We've had a quick review of the backroom papers.
Oh, yeah.
And what things mean. I did get it right first time when we
Mm.
introed for the day. This is an elimination series. Loser here is ending their autumn and winter. So no pressure, Venom Crest, because you are 1-0 down. And that's Chova's Syndra, debut champion for this guy. It was dead strong. Paul George, also on his best mid laner. Going to be explosive. It's going to be exciting.
I just realized that Chover might be like a homonym or a meme homonym for Chovy. Like it's the.
Oh, it is. I'm sure it is.
I just realized
it's
that.
Chova, baby.
It's Chover. It's Chover. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, either way, like you said, Venom Crest one loss away from walking out that door. So, would like to see a little bit more of them. Hopefully, they can pull it through on this one, and might have the draft to do so. It doesn't look like sign shenanigans just yet, at least.
Yeah, Rory was convinced that's ending up pretty much next to an AD carry at level 1.
At least not yet.
I'm not opposed.
I mean, I would have liked it for sure. It's just it seems this team has not practiced that too much, so might just be a 1v1 in the top side instead.
Well, that's Sion's not too bad at it. No, it does have the whole range, not the all-in machine show. But he's found someone.
Okay, why did we walk melee range of the bush? Okay, we have to burn flash. Oh my goodness, it's a Venom Crest win.
Oh, that's painful. I don't know when
this wasn't in the scripts, guys.
When you see the 2 stacks come through, it must be like, huh. Hang on. Oh, water.
I mean, is that a win because of stacks, or is that a loss because of the flash? That's the question.
I think we know. Sadly, the flash quite valuable.
Oh, it's a timeout angle. That's how bad it was.
Venom Crest, well done on your overwhelming advantage. You couldn't possibly lose from here as the forces resolved. Water's health bar chunked. Chova out of lane, a solemn walk back after a level 1 where Chi felt they could just check the bushes. They could go see what was in there.
Yeah, maybe that was a lag situation, and Chover's like, I wasn't able to press S. There was latency issues, so maybe that's why we went to the pause. But yeah, either way, I mean, Venom Crest looking strong in all lanes so far, right?
Yeah, we're being kind and rewinded. So the spectator system does work in mysterious ways, but it's okay. We understand them. We're back. We're in together.
And a good pin from Water has traded a little bit of HP back for the side of Good Chi, and Reeton on the aggressive side of things. And I mean, Reeton actually quite low. This is a little bit of a win for Good Chi.
That went from aggression to sort of Sona 400 HP syndrome real fast.
Yeah,
the aftershock as well. Water chugging all of their potions. We'll start to get healthy again soon. You wonder, Reeton, you're really struggling there, buddy. Don't know if he's sort of baiting the interaction, so you can just do an empowered W at level 2. We'll have to keep our eye on that bot lane, though. That was some deep trading early in the game.
Yeah, a lot of sustain afforded to this duo down there, though, right? Like the cleanse also available for the Jinx, the heal available for Reeton, and like you mentioned, the empowered W is able to come through. Sejuani with interesting pathing. Scouse looks like they want to make it towards that bottom lane, or potentially just cover off that J4 gank.
Yeah, it's real heavy. Scouse will beat Hazard down here. If Jarvan shows up late, he might show up stronger. We'll have to see whether being first, whether being in time.
Ooh, so much respect, though. They know. They just know.
Vibes.
Yeah.
They were off.
They threw a ping in Tribrush as well. Like they had a feeling. And Scouse, I mean, rounding over towards the mid lane, Paul George might be the one in danger now, but has that W, the distortion, plenty to be able to get out of that one. And that is going to be a little bit of time wasted for Scouse, and this J4 getting a little bit of a lead from that.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on the CS. They get a few camps up, and then should be the crab over. We'll be interested to see if Scouse cuts up towards that one, but Shy, knowing the map movement, use the Scry's Bloom. Should be well informed for the next minute or so about where this Sejuani can and can't go.
Yeah, it's going to be a good read coming out from Venom Crest, and a really stable start, I want to say. Like we were talking about it previously, Venom Crest a little bit shaky in a couple of these games that we've seen from them in the UKEL, but We didn't get to see the first 10 minutes last game. Maybe it looked exactly like this, but they're looking good so far. Paul George with a good distortion, able to dodge away from the from the Q, and Chover can be able to get Hazard off of them with the Scout of the Week.
Yeah, general interactions. No one panicking, no one flashing. Not that Chover could anyway.
Oh,
and this is Scouts trying to push the wave out. They want to reset the Syndra.
Good guy Scouts this game. I mean, that is going to be a Sejuani very far behind in farm, and J4 not mainly known for the invading prowess, but definitely able to do so.
Yeah, I think invading for a kill is very fair.
Yeah,
you're right though. Does not kill monster fast. Hazard is going to try and kill monster fast, and we'll start off this Grom. The Scouse does have a bit of XP from mid. Don't know if he's going to ding 4 here. That was quite a lot of minions that went down. We'll get it. Going to give that one up. Just remind Shin that, you know, on weak side, the jungler might come see you a little less.
But good pathing from Scouse. Recognizes that J4 probably stole that Gromp anyways, and
Yeah.
it's going to move towards that bottom side. Water in the bottom side, actually, speaking of which, going to be getting a little bit of damage down onto Reeton, and follow-up damage coming out from Matthew on the exit. Water. No potions left available to this Poppy. Has to play a little bit safe. And the sustain is still available for Venom Crest, but no mana in this bottom lane. They need to get this wave in.
I'm always worried about Poppy's sort of end of health bar, and then I remember that she does get extra armor and magic resist just for being a nuisance, just for being a menace.
And a shield for pressing right click. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. It does not die. Oh!
Speaking of dying, that's going to be Paul George in the grave. We're getting a little bit of a replay of that one. I'm going to see how this took place.
Live action here. We'll break it down. Oh,
distortion
on the
forward.
Wave. Oh, no.
Whew. I mean, just clean from Chover.
Yeah, Chover recognizing, you know, Paul George needed to call his jungler, and we saw Scouse do it for Chover earlier. If you do want to get that reset, if you do want to make it nice and easy, just having your jungler cast a bunch of skills on the wave and getting out of there. Real easy way to secure that. Scouse here will be spotted on a ward as Hazard peels away from this bottom lane.
Venom Crest just have Scouse's number this game. Like, so much vision afforded to them, so much tracking of the enemy jungler, so much awareness of where Scouse is trying to get a play down. It's proved very, very influential for this bottom lane so far. And I mean, if Matthew is able to get off the ground on this Jinx, get towards later game, get these items under their belt, it's going to be a very scary champion in the bot lane. Hazard trying to get a collapse here onto Water. They do know Scouse is in the area, but they didn't respect the Sejuani. Out of the bush comes the pig, and Scouse able to find the E, able to find the kill onto Hazard. Reeton on the run. Does have an empowered ability available to them, but no mana to use them. Morrow able to get a little bit of damage here onto Matthew, but the excited for Jinx, it might prove fatal. A double kill so far. Matthew looking for the triple. The E.
Shin's drifting. He's drifting.
Oh no. Matthew, no mana left to him, and gonna have to play it safe. So close to dying. Morrow able to dodge away from that W a second time in a row. Shin able to finish off the Jinx. Shy gonna get quite a bit of gold for that exchange though.
Yeah, we'll start planning through these plates. And Shin had moved down there when the Void Grip spawned. It was some time ago, and I was just wondering, like, is there some more Scion cheese I didn't know existed? Is that what's happening here? Instead, just
the Drift King
plowed straight through mid and was like, I am walking to bottom lane. Succeeded in doing so, got Chover reset and walked up into this top lane. They're going to minimize their losses, but Jinx picking up 2 kills at the start should be a way to keep this game even. The gold is dead even. Everything set up nice and balanced as we go further and further into the mid game.
As all things should be, one might say.
Oh, and, I think if you're both these teams, you're very happy going late. The sort of dependency on the outplay, on the correct macro move in the late game. It looked good last game, and it has been Venom Crest's bread and butter for a few seasons now.
Yeah, just wait till one of your ADCs becomes Thanos, and then you can snap.
Yeah, get that thumb ready because it's snapping time.
Or at least it will be eventually.
Yeah, Scouse the biggest beneficiary of the last few minutes. I think it's fair to say. We'll pick up the grubs and, of course, pick up the kill in the bottom lane.
But Matthew is going to be so strong early, right? Like, this Jinx with the lethality build, it's not as late of a spike now. Jinx
for sure. It's like two is like a huge,
pretty good,
huge position to be in. I'm never sure if it's collector opportunity or opportunity collector.
Speaking of opportunities, taking an opportunity to kill Water, and Morrow has ultimate available, so Matthew playing aggressive, but realizing maybe not the most confident move to make there. I mean, you have the barrier and you have the ult for Maro. I mean,
Yeah,
he's pretty safe on his own.
You take your freebies. You don't
Yeah.
ask for too much more in this situation. You might look for it with Reeton pushing up into the tower, though.
And has the Encore available to them. We'll have to see. I mean, no mana for Matthew. Yeah, we'll just walk away. It's going to be into the mid lane for Hazard, able to dodge away from the Scout of the Week with the Cataclysm. It's going to be a kill picked up for this J4. Paul George getting that assist under their belt. And Venomcrest looking strong across the board.
Yeah, Evie, I think you mentioned this on the desk. Congratulations. That is the Unstoppable Force versus the Scattering of the Week. Jarvan does continue jumping straight through the air. And with that setup, nothing stopping Paul George from jumping on forwards. A nice, clean move in the lull state. We'll have Venomcrest take the first gold lead of the game.
And that's going to be the thing with Syndra E, right? It only scatters the weak. And J4, with his ultimate,
when
is quite strong.
he's coming through the air, absolutely not weak. Flag and
Exactly.
drag, weak.
That's weak for sure.
For
But
Demacia, not weak.
exactly. And I mean,
There's-
it'll
there's
work
a-
for a lot of these like abilities, right? Like it'll
Yeah.
work for the Gnar dash. It'll work for Paul George. It'll be useful.
There's a verse of epic winning in there, and I'm just gonna leave that where it should be, and that's a decade old.
But either way, I mean, it doesn't look like Good Chi have lost their senses, right? They're still playing their game. Seem to be pretty comfortable bringing that Sejuani down towards the bottom lane just to secure a little bit of safety, help them shove in these waves, and play the exact same game they've been playing for the last 10 minutes.
I love it. I love the spirit. I love the emotes.
The
It
BM.
might be the elimination. Chova just respecting that if he's near the wave, Hazard might just decide to become
To show up.
corrosive. Good cheese chances there. And we have sort of spoke a little bit about the top lane matchup. We do have the Heartsteel coming through. I don't know how often Shin's going to be whacking Shy to get that one proc. A little bit of a smite fight there. Goes Hazard's way. And it has been a CS lead for Shy. We've sort of highlighted this player as, needs to be that extra piece that Venomcrest can rely on in the late game. Gnar, a fantastic champion for that. See them set up as time goes on. They have the CS lead. Don't have the takedown from drifting into the bottom side. They do have the lane position. Do have the plate. What Shy can now convert this into will matter in the next few minutes.
I mean, Shin has the first completed item, right? So
Oh yeah.
Gonna be quite ahead of pace.
Heartsteel's just cheap, but I don't think he's going to get to use it too much. Maro, what confidence to step forwards there. The feathers just give Matthew and Reeton moment for pause. They fade away from the lane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think Maro's been forced to burn the barrier once this game. This is a very strong Xayah, and it seems like Maro's pretty comfortable piloting against the Jinx Seraphine lane, able to dodge most of these abilities and get that damage done. Surprising amount of damage, I would say, for a Xayah. But in the mid lane, it's going to be Scouse trying to get some damage down as well. Paul George gets clipped by the Glacial Prison, but the Poppy just going to donate their life. Water goes down after walking into lane all confident. Paul George picks one up for themselves, and Venomcrest winning out again.
Yeah, I think Water just maybe stuck a little in last game where both supports, Water back again on this Poppy. As, the Super Mega Death Rocket will just clean the wave. Just help
Plus
out
one.
a bit. Yeah, just a little overexposed, a little too far forwards. And with that does, unfortunately, pay that 300 gold tax to your opponent.
And flips the game on its head in comparison to the last one, right? This is going to be 3 grubs to deny the 6 grubs for Good Chi versus the opposite that happened last game.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think maybe Venomcrest
No,
got the second 3
it-
last game as well.
Yeah, much of the same. Chai
It's actually
looking
mirror
strong enough.
image. They're repeating.
Yeah, I think the only thing not repeating, Reeton's Nautilus being deep as he can be, the abyssal depths of the ocean, how deep he was going in those plays.
Rather deep right now, to be fair, but
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Fair
A lot of
enough.
deep vision.
It did not spot that. That was good timing. With the dragon coming up in 20 seconds, last recalls pretty much have passed. This will be Tryhard Matthew late to the play. But I don't think Good Chi are in for a rush. Plenty of vision in their own jungle. We'll
Yeah.
let Venomcrest know exactly where everyone's playing this.
I mean, if this deep vision doesn't get cleared out by Good Chi, there are so many flank wards afforded to Venomcrest
Oh
as
no.
well. Okay, Reeton forced to burn flash. That's actually, it's not great,
Yeah.
but it's going to be fine since they lived. Oh my
I think
goodness, Choker.
that was the proper respectful timing. Paul George just getting the auto attack weaved in
Oh,
there, but
okay.
pulls him.
Yeah, I mean, Paul George, very low, is able to find the distortion, but it's going to be the ult from Chover to finish them off, and that's going to be the mid laner dead for the side of Venomcrest. That's going to be Dragon, at least potentially able to be moved on by Good Chi. They have the main advantage. TP available to Paul George. I don't know if Venomcrest want to fight this without their mid laner.
It would be real tough. Chover not the healthiest, and while his teleport is coming up, we're trying to use the respawn timer of Paul George here to
It goes down so slow, though.
The objective goes through. There is no Super Mega Death Rocket as well. The members of Venomcrest trying to come forwards. Water's ult is held.
No, oh my goodness, I thought J4 got it for a second, but Poppy able to ult J4 out of it, and Matthew on his lonesome should just get taken down. A good Encore able to save his life, though. Reeton with the last possible second able to find that ultimate, and it will be a kill going the way of Venomcrest. They did lose the dragon in the end, but luckily they managed to get a kill back.
Yeah, they'll keep the gold at least even. Shin teleports in to say, everyone stop fighting. I've arrived, which will also mean that Shy gets to push in an extra wave in top. Or actually, Chover's teleport there, the only thing keeping that tower healthy.
I was going to say, Good Chi have done really well about, you know, dedicating one TP to a play and then being able to move or TP one of their members towards the opposite side to be able to cover their bases there with the waves. So, I mean, they did it last game. Like, Silas moved. I mean, we saw it earlier in this game, right? Syndra moved, didn't even burn TP earlier on when the Scion moved down. So, they're really good at covering their waves, it seems.
Yeah, they are holding their TPs for these plays. It's given the desired effect. I'm not sure if it's like super necessary, but it's fixing the problem they've got in the moment. And if that's not what a summoner spell's for, flashing away, heal baiting, I don't know what it is.
Exactly. And Morrow, once again on his lonesome in this bottom side. This Xayah has been left to their own devices for so dang long, and has been thriving in it. Paul George might get punished. Okay, Water not going to look for the pin there this time, and looks like Shin just pretty comfortable in this mid lane.
I think Water changing shape to the vessel it's in, which has been 4 swift deaths, over half of Venomcrest takedowns on the Poppy. Just holding range on this one.
And I really want to see somebody move down on the side of Venomcrest. They have an exposed turret. They're going to give... Is that first turret gold to Xayah? That seems... I mean, they're going to donate it for the Rift Herald, but this doesn't seem like a good trade.
With Essence Reaver being so strong as well. First brick over to Maro Xayah, and presumably...
I guess Jinx is 4-1, but like they shouldn't be even when she's 4-1.
Yeah, and... this Herald pretty much will only achieve the same in mid after extended siege. I'm not the biggest fan of coalescing on the Herald straight away there. It isn't either team style really to sort of force the fight on it. But Venomcrest show up in numbers and decide it's theirs. They'll get away with it this time. Chover and Scouse now trying to defend.
Hazard kind of cut off from their team. Is going to look for the re-engage though. Finds the EQ here onto Scouse, and Paul George moving in. Matthew as well. A little bit of damage going down on the Sejuani, but the health bar doesn't move quick enough. Hazard low, able to flash out of dodge, and Scouse going to get clipped by the E, and the Ignite tick will take him down, but on the opposite side, Hazard so dang low. Scion shows up, and Shin is here to kick the side of Venomcrest in the shins. It will be Matthew taken down on the opposite side eventually, and Reeton surely next to follow. Morrow there to secure it. The flash forward from Shin just to make sure, and Good Chi. They see Venomcrest rise above the tides, but they smack them back down.
They move their AD carry up at the perfect time. Not about the objective, but about that little rotation, about defending the top tower that would have become victim to the Rift Herald in the extended play. While that bot lane is traded back over now, that was Venomcrest's original ideal, is we take 4 top, Xayah isn't there, we're going to have a great time. And instead, Shin gets his first Heartsteel stack very much later than he would have liked. But it's a takedown on Matthew. The Scion rising back up, as you mentioned. Going to 3-0 and getting a bounty of his own.
Oh, and I mean, maybe a consolation prize here on the Water, but has the flash available. Will the Poppy use it, though? No, just going to donate the kill instead. Maybe not worth wasting there. And, I mean, they get 1 back, but Venomcrest, I mean, that was a pretty pivotal fight to lose, no?
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. The gold swinging back over to Good Chi. Sort of reminiscent of last game. They are starting to build up a little more of those objectives come through. The better timing, perhaps, around those fights in the jungle. Moment. Chover trying to get in on the side of this. Does look like the Rift Herald will not be able to be defended. No one wanting to stand up on the wave there. The Sejuani ult. Such a threat.
Yeah.
Instead, Good Chi will push this one forwards.
It seems like in these team fights, they're just able to operate so much better as Good Chi move forward. It looks like the Glacial Prison not quite able to land onto the Seraphine, but it's going to be Matthew getting so darn low underneath this turret in the mid lane. Will be able to finally retreat under Big Brother, but Hazard low, able to dash away. This would make a Death Rocket not going to do too much damage there. And Good Chi claim control of mid. They claim control of the bottom jungle, and they look to take this dragon.
Yeah, excellent timing. They show up, they burn flashes, they burn ultimates, and now their opponent has no standing in their own jungle. Venom Crest have to slither their way back through carefully while they've pushed the mid wave out. Will now be walking over Good Chi's vision. Shy barreling in from the side. He is on Mega. He has not got much time.
But that is such a good setup for Good Chi. They find the knock up here onto Shy, and the Mega ult will come out, but Shy forced to flash away. It will be Poppy falling in exchange, but it's going to be the top laner taken down for the side of Venom Crest, and that is such a thorn in their side. Chover doing so much work on this Syndra, doing so much damage. Shin in the front line, able to get the knock-up cancel here onto Hazard. The Encore comes out, but only hits Sion, and this fight looks good for Good Chi. It's going to be Hazard taken low. It's going to be Sejuani moving forward. Reeton low as well. Blinking health bars on the side of Good Chi. They're trying to scamper out. Chover barely picked up on those chompers by Matthew, and it might be enough for Venom Crest to claim position over this river, but Shin moves in, has mana, has HP, Reeton over the wall, Scouse moving into the pit, Hazard low as well, but it's gonna be Matthew with the flash away, able to get the kill here onto Syndra. It's gonna be Sion in the grave as well, and kept in place by that root. Hazard has the smite. Venom Crest should be able to pick up this dragon. They pick up the fight, and they might even be able to pick up Chover here, but Shy will walk away as Venom Crest walk away victors of this fight here.
Good Chi had great setup at the start, but they couldn't quite finish off anyone from Venom Crest. They couldn't get the job done, and with everyone's health bars alarming, blinking red, the reset onto Jinx more than enough to tip the scales. While they won't quite pick up this mid T1, they've stopped the dragon stacking. They have managed to bring that sort of back towards their favor, rather. Teleports in here as well. Good Chi, worried about the Baron off the back of it. Won't be the case as Venom Crest go home to their den. Paul George should be able to just walk this off on top.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Looks like
You'd really hope so.
Yeah, we'll be able to get out. And I mean, that was such a pivotal fight for Venom Crest, right? I feel like that was kind of the turning point here, and the crux of the problem of this game is that they needed to be able to secure that third dragon and kind of solidify themselves in this game in the mid game, right? Because that's where their composition thrives the most. Syndra in the late game is absolutely disgusting. Maro on this Xayah, once the 3 items come out, is going to be a monster. And I mean, Sion only gets tankier, right? Like, this champion is so scaling. You really want to start closing this game out in the early and develop a lead, and Venom Crest start to get a little bit more under their belt.
I'm not sure there's such a rush, but you've highlighted some key points they need to hit. They need to find sort of the setup for the Gnar. They need to use the Jarvan while he still has that extra threat of sort of attack damage before he just becomes, you know, akin to a black cleaver bot later on and just a bit of cosmetic damage.
Wait, Jinx isn't going the lethality build.
No, as a switch out that
I just noticed.
I forgot the name of it. What is the move speed and AD component? I've avoided AD carry this split.
I can't remember. But
no, it's red. It costs
Recrix.
Yeah,
wow, thank you, production.
That's. I was like, I'm sure that's not a word in English. It turns out I was right all along. Good heavens! Right, that sort of setup does mean that, you know, you will have a big sort of team fight later. You got this beautiful setup from LeBlanc and Jarvan, and you got plenty of time to sort of tease out the cooldowns. You want to make the Xayah ult. You want to make them sweat. You want to have Poppy have to burn something on the approach. And if the Scatter of the Weak goes wide, that's all the invitation you need. It is also the Venom Crest comfort zone. It's a huge buff.
Oh, Rectrix.
Yeah, we're being told it's Rectrix. Okay. It's the tail feather of a bird. I'm sorry. Is it ornithologists out there?
I don't know. Bird connoisseurs, if you will.
Yeah, bird connoisseurs. The watchers.
The watchers in the night. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Bit of a clump up here from Venom Crest. Could have gone for that. And Hazard just flagging as a warning sign there. See, that's the red plumage on this Jarvan skin. It's just saying, "Oh, that's my jungle. I'm in here. Step."
But I think definitely a key thing you highlighted there is the fact that now Matthew is going to have that scaling option for this Jinx, right? I thought it was going to be the lethality build. This Jinx is not going to be strong lane, not really going to be hitting anybody with much damage, but now is going to be that.
Even then, I think sometimes the lethality.
Well, definitely not dealing with Scion.
Deceptively still pretty good. Won't chew through Scion. Agree, absolutely. But Syndra and Xayah would still
they'd get melted for
wear
sure.
their targets on their backs with great care.
But Venom Crest definitely solving a few of those issues, right? So now it does come down to execution more than just, oh, we have the better scaling comp. I am a little bit terrified for Venom Crest moving into these fights. If Chover is actually able to come online ever, the amount of damage I'm seeing from the Syndra on the Qs and the Ws is absolutely disgusting. And Paul George, deceptively strong, right? 5, 2, and 3, nearing that third item, has 8 stacks on this Darksteel, but I just haven't seen that damage coming out from this LeBlanc.
Yeah, they do need to try and get something set up first. They need this approach, this sort of gameplay here, where they're fishing on side lanes. They're getting opportunistic, and they're just seeing what they can find. Matthew here, long range enough to clear 2 versus 1 in mid, has afforded Venom Crest a degree of freedom. Shy starting to really hurt Shin, starting to really stack up with the Gnar.
Yeah, this does not look fun to play for the Scion, I'm going to be honest. But Shin's still alive, I think, is the key point. And that's because Poppy is moving down. Yeah, and I think Shy knows, but we'll have to see whether it matters. Water looking for the pin. Will be able to stop the Gnar from getting over his head, and that will get a kill picked up for Shin. Hazard might fall on the backside of this fight. But that is going to be the Gnar taken down. That's going to be side lane pressure afforded to Good Chi, and now they have all the rain they want over this map as this dragon spawns in 5 seconds time.
Yeah, Venom Crest don't invest Shy's flash, anything from Hazard at all. They're sort of just giving up on this dragon. I'll go to 2 and 2. And Drake, we're set on for a real late game here. This might be maximum dragons. We might get to see all 7, the elementals, but that's pings down onto the Baron. Venom Crest thinking about getting that started while Good Chi are getting themselves back together after the dragon take.
Yeah, might see 7 elemental Drakes alongside your caster, also named Drake.
Maximum Drake. 8 Drakes.
Maximum Drakes. So many Drakes. I mean, we might even see an Elder as well. We'll have to wait and see. But, I mean, it definitely looks like neither of these teams are really giving each other an inch. And those picks can really turn into the game ending if one of these teams is able to capitalize on it. But it seems like both teams able to kind of cover their bases if that does happen. And neither one really wanting to just look to blow the game wide open. So I think exactly as you highlighted, we are looking for a long one here.
With that in mind, if you were going to be a Drake, which Drake would Drake be?
I have brown hair, so I'm going to go Mountain, even though it's a bit boring.
It's rock solid. And that is our soul, of course, with 2 of them already on the board. I would ask production, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Production's mic has turned on either, which is, you know, we're only breaking the 4th wall a little. This is an extended movie marathon, folks. We're in for a long one.
We are strapped in for sure. And I mean, I think for the most part, Venom Crest are strapped in to trying to get this mid lane down, man. Like the tier 1 turret is still up for
it's
Good
an
Chi.
absolute rock.
Like
Matthew was like confident clearing at long range, and then Myra was like, "My tower's here. I can still step up. I'm all right. I got water with me."
So like, when do you think they ever break this turret? Is it after a 5v5? Like, I think they have siege, but it's only
I
really
think
Jinx.
it is going to be a big fight. I don't think they're getting a wave in there in respectable fashion for quite some time. We can see Maru sprinting straight back down mid.
Yeah.
No time wasted at all, and going to collect some more minions.
And I guess when we get to these stages of the game, right, 27 minutes, we're moving towards pretty late game and not really seeing either of these teams interact with each other. I feel like things to highlight are item spikes, are how well these 2 teams are farming, and it looks like neither team really taking away too many jungle camps from each other. So it's going to come down.
That mid tier 1 is still standing.
Yeah.
Good Chi do get away with a fair bit. Otherwise, Paul George with the wave on top in that position, he'd be right under that mid tower. He'd be like, "Hello, folks, how we doing? Would like to cast some chains. Are there anyone here that likes chains?" And it would be a different story. They do have that control ward just off of the sides. They are waiting to get into this west jungle quadrant. They're looking for it.
I would argue that I feel like Morrow is stronger at this point because 3 items completed on both ADCs. Okay, well, they're going to take the fight. Looks like Hazard maybe causing a little bit of a hazard for themselves, and will get rooted up by Morrow. That's going to be a lot of low health bars on the side of Venom Crest as they look to scatter away. It will be Shin into the backline. It will be Reeton knocked up by the Sejuani, and that's going to be at least one member dead for the side of Venom Crest. They're looking for more. Hazard might be next on the chopping block, gets over the blast cone, gets to safety, but Paul George nowhere near safe on that opposite side. Will get taken down. Hazard gets knocked up by Scouse. Gets hit by the W, might get stunned up, but there's no follow-up. That's going to be Sejuani in the grave. It's going to be Shin finding the knock-up here on the Hazard. It's going to be Matthew shooting fish in a barrel here, and it might just be enough, but it's not for now. Morrow with the flash away, able to get to safety. The barrier as well, Shy near that Mega, but will not be able to get it off water, able to secure him in the end. Matthew on the run, and it will be a 4-for-1 in the end in favor of Good Chi.
They just about managed to hold the edge there. Sorry, I'm Scarce with an excellent fork, despite eventually going down. Drives Venom Crest into a position. Poor George has to come forward, has to disrupt the backline. Chova and Mara with the unleashed power at the back. Absolutely vicious towards Venom Crest's flanking mid laner. It's a huge advantage over Gold equalized. Nerves of the last few minutes of the Venom Crest comfort zone slightly assuaged. As we go back to our state, no one willing to start up the Baron with 45 seconds on someone's soul point on that threat that in 5 minutes the other team must answer, must come into this pit. It's Venom Crest first, but Good Chi have push in mid.
I mean, it's just so unfortunate, right? Hazard pulled the trigger over what, right? There was no real objective to take. Baron was up, but nobody was really threatening it on either side. And we had just analyzed that Morrow had 3 items, right? The Zion 3 items with IE completed as well is so dang strong. Oh, it's just so sad.
It was a preamble for this coast to coast. Both these objectives being up. Good Chi have started the Baron Water, tagged on his way in, has given the game away. And with Dragon not up, Venom Crest have to try and approach, have to try and fight for this. It goes down so fast.
And Poppy ultimate there to help them out as well. Hazard nowhere near this scenario any longer. Baron will go over. Dragon spawns in a second's time. Sorry, and I mean, Good Chi can move down, but I think Venom Crest Good Chi are pretty happy to just push to this top side.
Yeah, they're holding Chova's teleport here. They're going to try and crack the inhibitor with this wave. The Baron will help keep it alive for long. Shin is level 17. He's absolutely huge on this Scion. A little bit of a pause comes through. We will wait to see how long this runs for. Might just be a little instability, or might be a little bit longer. Drake, if you're the man in Drake, I don't know which Drake I should be. Zoe, chime in as well. Like, chat, which Drake would you be? I'm on the fence. I've not had to think about such a variable. Zoe says Hex Tech, so I got a Mountain and a Hex Tech Drake next to me, and I don't get time to decide. We're back in game. That Baron wave crashing through this tier 2.
Yeah, and I mean, those health bars are so dang big. Shin and Scouse have a lot of health to eat through for the side of Venom Crest, and it looks like they're not going to be able to do so just yet. That's going to be tier 3 picked up for the side of Chi, but a good Cataclysm coming out from Hazard with an Encore over the top, but health bars, once again, just not moving. Morrow has to be careful here. Obviously, we are going to come back from that pause, and Morrow's going to go into the grave. It's going to be such a good shove coming out from Shy. So much damage in the backline. Matthew free hitting on the Scion, but that Scion health bar just not moving. Paul George trying to get some damage off from the side, but so dang low, has to back away. And you don't need the Zaya if you're Good Chi to step forward here.
Yeah, they do lose Morrow after that freeze frame moment. The approach from Paul George on the back looking so good. Oh no, Reeton.
That's 3 people in the grave. That's Venom Crest with only 2 members alive. So crippled. Good Chi able to just walk out with their prize. I mean, Water may have to burn the flash here. Oh, tried to Hex Flash. He's able to get a good W off and stop that engage from the LeBlanc. But I mean, Good Chi get away with murder.
They do. Chova in the nick of time. The back of that fight, we had Paul George on the deep flank. Chova was still on mid lane. Walked up, walked over, and just about managed to bail Good Chi out of a difficult situation.
That's going to be another tier 2 turret falling. That's going to be an inhibitor down for Venom Crest, and that's going to be, I mean, quite a large gold lead for Good Chi at this point in the game. It's been slightly blown wide open, right? Venom Crest did finally claim their prize of that tier 1 turret in the mid lane, but the map state is showing Good Chi up all the way around.
Is starting to lean their way. And just looking across items, once again, you mentioned it goes late with the tools that these characters have to work with. Starting to get a bit clearer now. Could talk about sort of the magic pen items. I'm still a Void Staff fan on LeBlanc, right? And hear me out. I know that the Crypt Loom is more effective. It is more gold efficient, as Paul George about to run into the entirety of Good Chi. We'll see them there on his scanner. Decide to leave. Very sensible. There's no Infinity Edge on the Jinx. She's got the LDR. That's fine. Scion's huge. Will have to be the mechanism. Why Scion dies. The Glacial Assault goes wide.
No. Water is taking so much damage from Paul George. I mean, that's going to be Poppy chunked out. Obviously, still Poppy, so not going to be too upset about it. But Paul George has this flank angle, and doesn't look like Good Chi give a dang. They're going to push down this turret, take the tier 2. Water just absolutely deleted off the side. That will be him in the grave, but Paul George walking out pretty safely, and only a tier 2 turret picked up at the end of that. I mean, it was probably going to go down anyways.
It's the removal of more standing gold. You're not wrong. It was probably at its days numbered after a really cool Baron power play that has seen Good Chi move from just over 1,000 gold to 4,000 on the map.
Oh, Morrow. I mean, Morrow's just here. Matthew with the flash away, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. Morrow with the aggression on this Xayah, able to get the kill picked up. Chover over the wall, able to get the safety. Paul George not going to win out in this 1v1 just yet. It will go the way of Chover, and across the board, Good Chi, their carries winning out. It's going to be Shin in the mid lane as well, doing so much damage to Shy. He has the Gnarl, but what is it going to do when you don't have any damage? Hazard over the top, able to find a double knockup, but eventually this J4 should get taken down. The E going to land the Q to follow the Cataclysm over the top, and Hazard finally able to pick up that kill, but he will eventually fall for his sins. The W comes out from Scouse. Morrow still free hitting in the mid lane, could collapse if he decided to. The E will come out from the Sejuani. Eventually, these big, beefy boys will be taken down Hazard. And the turrets fall next as well. I mean, Good Chi just looks so strong.
Of Venom Crest. Broken slightly. Morrow now in a sticky situation. Hazard, as you mentioned, sure to fall.
They can stagger the staff if they want to. It looks like they do. They're leaving. Okay, they did finally take him down. They could have waited so long and let that Baron spawn. Or the Dragon spawn even.
Yeah, that would be absolutely dangerous. They still want more, though. That Stagger Death might end up being Shy. Morrow.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately.
Just got deleted.
Not much of a match for Paul George there. Gale Force Eat Your Heart and that 1v1 versus Matthew, but he's had enough time to respawn. We've been fighting constantly for over a minute now. With that Dragon coming up in 25 seconds, that will be Good Chi without their AD carry. And while Venom Crest won't have their jungler, I'm sure it'll arrive a little bit sooner.
Yeah, Hazard will spawn like as the dragon spawns, and I mean, I feel like this could be an angle for Venom Crest to get back into this game. It looks like they're losing a few of these team fights, but Paul George, maybe a faucet to get back in, can absolutely assassinate that back line, and has been doing so. Even the Poppy, right? I
was about to criticize the Crypt Bloom as we're going in again.
No. Reeton dodging that Glacial Prison, but is going to get taken down in the 1v1 against the Seraphine. And that's going to be Scouse walking away with a kill, but that's going to be the pig in the grave. Shin moving forward, but this Scion is only a health bar, is only a walking stat check. And we'll have to ult out, and it looks like Venom Crest will claim position over this river. Paul George moving in, Chover with the Scout of the Week, not able to get any stuns down. It's going to be the Cataclysm over the top. Hazard proving that they have this Syndra's number time and time again. Water able to find the pin and the flash away to safety temporarily. Paul George not going to chase it. It's going to be Dragon going the way Venom Crest, and Mountain Soul picked up.
Things onto the base. Paul George teleporting back. Venom Crest have to defend their Nexus towers. Oh, falling.
They lived. Big.
Oh, just
and
about.
The inhibitor respawns. It's going to heal up. Those turrets heal.
Just slowly, just to trickle the health back in. As yeah, I spotted Chover's teleport was up, and I was like, oh no, the risk at stake there. Venom Crest survival teetering on the edge in this game. We're approaching their comfort zone. 40 minutes, lots of items coming through. Jinx with the Infinity Edge, getting the resets was a huge part of the threat there. Despite Shin not having, we're going through more impactful items, not having any stacks on that Heartsteel for the first few minutes. I think an extra 400 health is not remiss 40 minutes in the game. And has still done a drain tank setup. So both teams starting to get where they're going. Bigger swings, bigger punches. Someone will fall down eventually, even if as even as ever. Sorry, I'm Scouse. I think has found his confidence in this game. The Sejuani engages the Arctic Assault into Glacial Prison. Looks so good time and time again.
And this is a scary spot for Good Chi to be in, right? Mountain Soul picked up for Venom Crest, their front line, which obviously was not as tanky as Shin or Scouse. Definitely getting there now with these buffs on their side. And I mean, Matthew, we were talking about him not having the IE on this Jinx. Has IE now. This is going to be a very, very strong Jinx moving forward in these fights.
And on the way as well to become that all singing, all dancing team fight unit. Water just splashing around. Keep our eyes on Paul George here. Is approaching from the jungle, forked off from the team.
Shin health bar does not move.
It does not. The only major thing to play around here.
Nearly 8,000 HP.
Matthew's flash is missing. Shy is coming out of that Mega Gnar now. There is a bit of a timer that keeps him in mini. Good Cheer looking for something. Matthew's flash does invite them to try now. They're pushing up this mid wave. They're going to try and force priority with the minions.
Yeah, but it looks like Venom Crest have that identified, right? They recognize that this Jinx does not have flash just yet, and they are deathballing down the mid lane. They are blocking Matthew as much as they can.
This double deathball minion Shin starts to take damage.
Starts to take damage and is actually getting shredded through. Hazard with the EQ forward, not going to prove fatal this time. And Water not able to get the pin to find the damage. It's tryhard Matthew free hitting, but it's going to be Morrow trading back. It's going to be a 1-for-1 for now. Hazard gets the Cataclysm onto the backline, and Morrow can't move. He's taken to the grave. Shin with the flash away, but Matthew once again just doing so much damage, shredding through the side of Good Chi. Scouse able to buy a little bit of time for his top laner to get to safety, and it will be a 2-for-2 in the end, but that's going to be Morrow taken down and Venom Crest with free reign over the map.
Morrow and Paul George both fall an absolutely disgusting Gnar from Shy. Pushes them forwards, keeps them in that fight a little longer. That's all they need to go even and continue here. We're well and truly into the Venom Crest comfort zone. And a little reminder from our stats team, because Casual Cutie can do everything for a broadcast apparently. There is 27,000 effective health versus physical damage for this Scion. He is an absolute walking health bar. You might have seen someone like this at the gym. An absolute muscle-bound monster from the top side. Jinx might eventually get through it, but we're gonna be here for a little while.
Yeah, and got Chris Bumstead in the top lane, for real.
I'm not sure who that is with a 10 out of 10 name. I think I've seen a picture. The encore comes through. Chova, little bit vulnerable here.
Oh no. Able to flash away from the EQ from Jarvan, but that's going to be a TP onto the flag, and sorry, I'm Scouse on the run. It's going to be a Sejuani caught unawares, and okay, it's going to be Shin in the backline with a huge knock-up. Finds 4. It's going to be Reeton and Matthew on the peel job, but they're able to get it done. It's going to be Water taken down in the process. It's going to be Matthew excited. Morrow with the movement forward, able to get a kill here onto the Poppy. Sorry, onto the Seraphine and the LeBlanc. Matthew trying to trade a kill back here onto the Xayah, but is no longer excited. A triple kill going the way of Matthew, and it's only the top laners left alive. Shin and Shy, the only 2 remaining. And Good Chi and Venom Crest once again are even.
As all things should be. Those 2 health bars don't matter. They're effectively full. They definitely cannot kill each other before the end of this game. That's impossible.
Okay,
I really thought
Shy health bar doesn't move, but Shin can hit turret. Hear me out.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong, and I don't think he needs the minions anymore. I think this is all fantasy for Shin.
Shin can just walk away with ult. Oh wow. Okay, Shy does move that health bar a little bit.
This is the opposite of the wet noodle fights we're getting competitive. We get you know, top laners wailing on each other level 3. No one dies. You know, they got to do it for the ego. At 40 minutes, no one dies. You got to walk it off for the ego. You got to burn that ultimate.
Okay, not quite 7 Drakes just yet. We didn't get to see them all.
We're getting close. We're getting close. You know,
50 seconds.
Venom Crest did get the Mountain Soul there.
Yeah. I mean, the question is,
a hot minute ago,
does Good Chi actually win a team fight if they get the Elder?
Like Morrow stepping forwards didn't have sort of the barrier flash setup, had to flash and pull back. And I think if Matthew got 1 less crit or 1 more out of Morrow, it would have been the answer in mid. The AD carry would have survived, and the base would not for the moment after. But these 2 teams so balanced, so close to each other in the way they are methodical, they're powerful in this late game as we get a flash of Jinx's statistics over 3 minutes spent empowered by this lethal tempo, and the Baron won't last a sec.
I mean, it's just gone. This is exactly what they did last time the Dragon spawned, and this time they're doing it again. Able to get themselves dressed in purple, but the Elder Dragon spawning is going to be Hazard dislocated from this fight because of the EQ over the wall, but Shin taking a lot of damage will walk away. And I mean, Elder Dragon spawned, the inside track afforded a good chi. I don't know if this is the right play for Venom Crest.
We'll give Chi a decent amount of time and no teleports. They have to walk it in. They have to do it manually in water. Playing Warden with this ultimate.
We've seen how well they can kite back in these fights, but I don't know how well they're actually able to enter.
Oh no, they're going to have to take it direct. Venom Crest have arrived.
Yeah, and they have to walk through the waiting arms of good chi. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be the Glacial Prison in the backline. Reeton dislocated from the fight. Shy and Tryhard Matthew hitting from the side. Paul George moving in. The Poppy ult is going to go slightly wide. Paul George just deleted off to the side. It's going to be multiple members caught in the Cataclysm. It's once again going to be Matthew free hitting. Hazard doing so much work to peel this. Scion Shy on the opposite side. Kept Morrow off the team as well. But it will be Matthew with full HP and excited as well. It's going to be the side of Venom Crest dressed in purple. It's going to be Scion off of this fight. And I think this is going to be good. Chi losing out in this one. Matthew pushing back Scouse. Morrow trying to get away in. Does find a Feather Recall onto Reeton. Does a little bit of damage, but the Sejuani is getting turned on. Scouse is getting deleted. Reeton might get traded back, but Morrow, that's an excited Jinx. You have to respect Matthew here. Hazard not quite able to stun the Xayah, but will go down. And Matthew able to get a little bit more damage down. I mean, excited Jinx against Shin. We saw how well Hazard can peel this Scion. That's just a free pickings for the side of Venom Crest. Matthew surely going to pick this one up eventually, and Elder Dragon is what they can turn towards next.
What a huge amount of time, Drake. Well done with the lung capacity there. A Nexus Tower will fall, and I can't help but think that if Shin teleported into the base, it might have been a different story here for good Chi. Venom Crest will defend that wave. They will take the Elder Dragon at 44 minutes. We've gone so deep, I can't even see the surface anymore. Chova had such a good setup on the fight. Nard into the wall, taken down. Matthew got so many rockets in on top of that Cataclysm. It was just enough to put Venom Crest over the edge.
Hear me out. Good Chi get 2 more kills and nothing else happens on the map, and then everything is genuinely even. Like 31 kills to 31. It would put him at 81,000 gold. It is insane how even this game is.
That's absolutely wild. That is so immeasurably close. Only the turrets and the dragon stack and keeping these two apart. Wave clear difficult, not impossible in this setup.
Oh my
People
goodness.
get excited, can't move forwards.
I think that rocket would have killed Chover, I think.
It's quite likely with the burn. Scouse is holding the ultimate, and there is threat from Morrow. So the minions not enough here. Champions do have to be wary of each other. We'll
Venom Crest.
We've got halfway through Elder Dragon. Pretty much. We're just on the shy side. Halfway.
Baron's gone. Then pardon minion wave.
More.
It's so easy to clear it now. Good Chi finally able to hold back long enough. And I mean, this is Venom Crest with their lives in the UKEL on the line, right? If they want to continue in towards the playoffs, they have to win this game. And they're desperate. Hazard moving in, trying to get a little bit of damage here onto the Scion, but Shin's health bar does not move. We saw earlier, it does move when you kill the Poppy, though. Water taken down. Morrow claimed next. Scouse stuck in the Cataclysm will get taken down by Matthew. He's on a rampage, and he's looking to rampage through the enemy base. Venom Crest looking to claim their spot in this series, looking to go 1-1, looking to make this night go long. Shin, that health bar finally starts to move. Chover on the opposite side should get claimed in just a second. The Elder buff is what Venom Crest needed, the 45-minute comfort zone, and they bring this series even.
Huge effort from Venom Crest at the end of it all. So balanced, and the Elder Dragon tips the scales so powerfully. Drake, it's getting late. We've got to get a move on. We're going to kick it to a break. The desk will be back to break down exactly what happened after that second game. Hey, well, welcome back to the desk. I'm going through it, bro. I think you might have both noticed why. The frazzles, the oh, it's a weeknight, and that was a 45-minute game, 46 on the nose as the Nexus fell. Game of League of Legends. Congratulations, Venom Crest. You really worked for it. And some fantastic Gnar ults. The setup, Paul George sneaking in through the back line. Absolute weight of that Jinx, massive in that game. Pivotless, was that what you were looking for? Is this the 2-1 Oracle? A good cheek gonna bring it back? Like, tell me things.
You know, I'm a lot happier in general with how Venom Crest played the map as a whole in this game. Not just compared to last game, but compared to the split as a whole. I think in general the ebb and flow of the game was pretty good for them. I do think they need to be a little bit more cautious about the spikes that they're playing around still. The main point here of contention is the fact that Maro, for a while, playing on Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, and then the Navori Quickblade spike, significantly stronger, believe it or not, than Kraken Slayer, PD, LDR, Jinx. But once they kind of rode that wave out, they got back to the late game that they were looking for. I think, for one, the shape of the comp was a lot better, very good at playing front to back. That Seraphine Jinx combo in the late game, very hard to get through. And yeah, I think, to be frank, right, with Reeton away from a champion that can engage recklessly constantly, they found themselves having a lot less of these sketchy fights in early game, which is pleasant to see.
Rory, what was the thing that stood out for you most from this game?
The thing that stood out was I was bang on in my mind about how Venom Crest would win a match, and that is as slow as wading through molasses until they eventually bore the enemy team into submission.
That Scion was thick.
And give the Baron bait.
I'm just saying.
Bait the enemy team to go Baron so they can secure Elder, and then just walk it in.
Did feel like a little bit of a walk it in. Like if it was added, maybe it was an Eden Hazard special celebration of just like, hey, it's in over the line. What are you gonna do? Oh gosh, right. Game 3, all or nothing. Loser goes home, albeit for Autumn. Winner has to go off and face second place team for progression through the bracket. Take it away.
You will notice Gucci back on red side, and this is the third game in the series where the team of side selectors opted into red. Of course, the shape of this top lane matchup has been pretty important, even though both sides so far we've seen red opting into picking the top laner first and getting their, the counter being given over to blue side, but suffice to say, it hasn't mattered up to this stage. It's actually been the team without side select.
Am I going insane? So Venom Crest banned the Jax. Gucci then see the Jax ban and go, yeah, we better ban Olaf anyway. Fine, we don't need that first ban. We're seeing a first pick Ezreal into Gucci, who just showed that they're very willing to play 3 tanks in their composition. Something Ezreal doesn't do well into. Yone Sejuani, just slam it. Power picks off the board. Are we about to see the rarest Shin Rumble ever? Or
commendations to both teams drafting this fast this time of night. I know.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
They have placed today.
Yeah, dead. The rest of us. If I could cast from a horizontal position, that'd be incredible. I don't mind the Ezreal for a bit of evasion, but it does tell me we're gonna try and play red side on blue, and I think Akali also suits decent into the Yone, but Venom Crest trying to react from the side that normally leads, that has been the way through this series. The advantages.
Yeah, I mean, gifting away the Yone Sejuani is really, really dangerous. And of course, when you're just blinding an Ezreal, I'd like to point out, right, Kai'Sa is open and very, very incredible in this comp right now. Of course, the Void Seeker reveals Akali in her fog. You're really happy to play that out. That's not to say that it's a guaranteed Kai'Sa lock-in. So far, we've seen an awful lot of Gucci locking in Poppy in this particular slot. Whether they choose to run that back a third time is yet to be seen, but Rek'Sai would suggest that Venom Crest is not so much fancying such a long game, and Temporal is sideways. I see you appear to be casting.
I am actually floating on air right now.
He's come away with the drops.
I think Poppy lock-in's incredible.
Kai'Sa locks in there. Kai'Sa, as we said, is great into the Ezreal, really happy to play into Akali in team fights, and in general pretty good at spacing out the Rek'Sai, and the Poppy ban will be taken away. Now, Good Chi were not too pleased having to play against the Seraphine last game because she, much like Sona, the embodiment of late game Enchanter teamfight power. Now, that's not to say that Riton is going to say, haha, I can still pick Persona. I don't expect that one to come out just yet in the series, but with the Braum gone and the Poppy gone, there is a lot of scope for engage picks here. Now, yeah, you want to get rid of Gwen. They want some more magic damage in this comp potentially. Of course, Kai'Sa does provide a lot of it, but with a Sejuani, Gwen is a terrifying threat. And when Venom Crest kind of need a tank in the top lane still, yeah, Gwen on R4 is a very credible threat.
I don't think Venom Crest strictly need a tank in the top lane. If they go for a support tank, then I think Rek'Sai and a beefy lad, now that the Poppy's banned out, you can go with Alistair.
Is that good at 45 minutes though, Rory? We've identified what we
Ezra
need
Alistair
here.
is fine at 45 minutes, but Rek'Sai, if you're picking Rek'Sai, you are not going to 45 minutes. You are going to max 35 minutes, or you roll over and die.
Yeah, this Venom Crest comp needs to win early and win hard. When you're playing through a champion like Rek'Sai, you need to get into space early.
They're going hard.
Contesting aggressively, and Nico, a champion that's pretty good at securing priority alongside the Ezreal, very good at playing these team fights, but into Kai'Sa Nautilus, very, very squishy bot lane to be locking in. You're under a lot of threat just being bursted in the 2v2.
But you hard win early. Like, you hard win early. And if you're playing this Venom Crest with this accelerated comp, I completely understand it. You're able to bounce that third wave very successfully, so you know you can never get ganked at 330, which is something they fall prey to quite often. We're seeing for the top laner now, chances are it's just going to be a Cassante. But you know what? I could be surprised with another hyper tank.
Oh, Gwen it now.
Yeah, this is a really phenomenal Gwen angle, and if that gets locked in, I'm going to call my prediction as 2-1 Good Chi.
2-1 Good Chi. Evie knew all along.
I think that Gwen is virtually impossible to stop. Of course, you can send Akali to it on a side lane, right? Like, Akali is pretty good at dealing with Gwen, but Gwen in her current state is...
My adventures on Gwen, who said, Akali, you've joined me. I think you're about here. You didn't backflip in the fog, and you're dead. And that's fantastic. Rek'Sai can get in under the shroud. It's not really enough in my mind. Rory?
With the new Malignance Gwen build that's been popping up, where you go Nash's Tooth Malignance, like, an Ornn cannot exist in the side lane, and Akali definitely can't exist in the side lane, because you can never land E on a Gwen because of the way her shroud works.
Yeah, you get insane sustained damage.
What do you do?
In my mind, to pick off the Akali and the Ezreal, I'm probably channeling some Kerberos. You know what I'm saying? Probably, he says as he very quickly goes and opens the picture I took of Kerberos's build. Sorry, buddy. I would cite the original source. He's just Lich Bane, Storm Surge, and it is enough to get through a tank. You spoke previously in the last draft where Gwen was a pretty good shot EV that is just true damage, and it's percentage health true damage, and it's magic it's AP linked. So no matter what, those tanks just absolutely eat it. The third are absolutely voracious in the amount of health parts.
Yeah, I mean, the issue that you have right now is Yone, Lady of Arun King, Russia typically at the moment, very good at shredding through these tanky health bars, and when you have champions like Rek'Sai and to some degree Akali in this meta, where they do tend to get quite a bit of health through items, especially when you look towards Akali liking a proto belt into her build at some points, tends to be one of the bulkier mid laner champions, even without necessarily itemizing into it, but they can't opt into resists. Blade of Arun King is fantastic into these health stackers with little resists. Gwen in general is fantastic into these health stackers. Kai'Sa, of course, also a lot of percent health execute in her kit. So I mean, regardless, right, when you look at how these comps operate, this game should be extremely explosive from a word go. Venom Crest need early fights. They need Ezreal Nico to pop off in the lane. They need Rek'Sai to get accelerated, and I guess Bjorn is your late game insurance, but if you're opting into late game insurance in a comp with a Rek'Sai, I can't fix the issues.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, because Venom Crest have shown they only really ever hard win in super long games. So they've decided to completely Well, bamboozle
You gotta
me.
break the rhythm. You gotta show you.
You want to break your own rhythm?
Yeah, I gotta go faster. Just
You want
a
to
reminder
stumble
that
on the
me and
concrete as
Rory
you're
did
walking
not
down the
believe
street?
tonight. I mean, if it surprises your opponent and gets you the win, I'm not gonna say falling on your face is the way. Definitely gonna do something. Evie, you still on? You still confident?
I'm still in it to win it. But like I said, right, I think Venom Crest in general, of course, when you go back to the D4 gamers days, they did show some adaptation over the course of their series. I think we have seen that from them up to now, between their drafts in Game 1 and Game 2, opting out of that tankier engaged support and towards things more like the Seraphine. And now for Nico, while she is a pseudo-engaged champion, certainly not the tanks for likes of a Rel, but I've been happy to see that pivot away from them. To echo Rory, I think when the majority of their wins have come through late game compositions where they've been able to stall out the early game, been able to survive almost in spite of themselves a lot of the time, and get to that later game point where their team fighting on the whole is not bad. They do make mistakes, but their team fighting and the way that they develop team fights in open space is not at all bad. I'm surprised to see them opt into a comp that doesn't operate in the same fashion. Now, granted, on Nico, very good at finding these initiations, but yeah, we look towards like the Rek'Sai, the Akali, and these don't tend to be your typical team fighting champions as such. They want to skirmish early, they want to skirmish on side lanes, and then you have an Ezreal. So
yeah, even the Ezreal sort of wants to deal damage over time. The Rek'Sai wants repeated knockups and wants disruption, wants to take it over a period of time. So there is some synergy there, but it means you're not taking a straight fight. Rory, anything else to add on the compositions? We are holding on for game just a little bit longer.
I'm just thinking, you're picking Rek'Sai to get very early ganks off. Typically, those ganks are in solo lanes. It's very easy for Yone to outplay a Rek'Sai. It is very easy. It's also very easy for a Gwen to outplay a Rek'Sai. So, unless Hazard can pull some magic here, I think he's going to struggle so much to have any impact on these lanes.
All right, that means if he does make it, huge plus point. It's a huge win.
True. Huge
I
confidence.
think the feeling on the desk is unanimous. I think good cheese draft, especially with that Gwen lock in. Oh boy, with that Gwen lock in to seal things out, is pretty favored.
Venom Crest 2-1.
He's starting to believe. Get him a FlyQuest jersey pronto. And unfortunately, it might go much the way of FlyQuest this series.
it's the year away, though, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Charger, I'm really feeling it this time. It's disband Breathe, so he's about to perform like the greatest top laner on the planet, in the knowledge that should they lose, that roster's dusted.
I hate it because I feel it too.
Breathe all season
it to come
wearing
true.
a mustache and glasses, and finally when he gets to Worlds, he takes it off and goes, "Wait, I can play really well."
Just like
It was me the whole time.
I was lowering expectations on purpose in case we lost.
Throughout the series, we've been putting predictions on timers. So Weibo be damned. Evie, you've had an absolute stonker so far of times and positions. If it's going to be good chi, does that mean they get out from under the early game of Venom Crest?
Yeah, I think if it's going to be good chi, it's going to be a longer game. I think if it's ever a Venom Crest win, it's under 30. It has to be. If it's a good chi win, I think it's more they weather the storm of the early game and it goes a little bit longer. So I see it being a good chi win. I'm going to say more or less 30 on the dot.
Okay, Rory, under or over?
I think it's going to be a 36-minute end for Gucci.
Man, I like the space you guys are playing in. I'm going to keep it neutral tonight. I am far too tired to contribute meaningfully to this discussion. And that's great.
I mean, you were just bouncing on the walls. We saw you.
This is
We've
true.
seen you
No
floating in
napping
midair,
until game 3
horizontal.
has done me. And you know what a nap at after 9:20 p.m. is called? Sleep. Just straight sleep. And with that in mind, I'm going to go see my dearest friend, my closest buddy, to guide me through this game 3. We're going to hop it over to the casters. We'll see you both for the final breakdown of the day. Drake, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
I'm here for it.
Hanging in
Charging
there.
it. We're gonna quote the ruddiest man on the internet. We're charging into the game. We're going. We might not be interviewing Faker today. Absolutely incredible. If you want
That was
on
it was an
YouTube.
interesting video to say the least.
was-
Faker seemed quite amused at
cracking the shell of the man who's
Oh, yeah.
had to hide away from the Korean media for so long because they put people on a pedestal. Tonight we're putting someone else on the pedestal. I think it's fair to say if Venom Crest pull this off, this might be one of the biggest upsets in playoffs history since a certain plucky Hive Central put Viperio in the bin the
Oh my
second time they
goodness.
met. Shout out to my historians. It's going to be an absolute task. It's going to be a draft that none of us saw coming because we can see it's coming in low. We can see it's coming in fast. We know that doesn't suit Venom Crest at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, what we've seen from Venom Crest, even in this series, is that they win if they have a very clinical early game, absolutely throw the next 5 minutes after it's turned 15 minutes, and then somehow and then somehow bring it back, right? Which just does not correspond with this team comp at all. I mean, I guess maybe Ornn is able to facilitate that a little bit.
We saw Shy on those gnarls. It's time for some praise, buddy. That was that was the stuff the Venom Crest side needed. And if the Ornn provides the same, if it gets them where they're going, that's the important part.
Yeah, I think that's definitely key here. And I mean, the desk was talking about a little bit with the outplay potential. It's really easy to outplay Rek'Sai, right? I also think that with Venom Crest draft, it's very easy to be a god if you can outplay, right? Like Poppy, outplay champion, right? Like she can distract, I want to say confuse enemies and then obviously find a 5-man Pop Blossom and absolutely win a team fight. Alternatively, Rek'Sai able to kind of one-shot somebody with the knockup. You can see Akali's outplay all the time. So I think Venom Crest have the makings of actually outplaying in this game.
Here we go. Game 3.
Oh, you have to outplay this 1v5 real quick, Matthew. Okay, done.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Good
Checked
job.
off the checklist.
Oh boy.
Leveled E as well, just to make sure. Just to be safe. Well, that's going to suck for lane.
Crazy respect. I think level 1, it is a bit sad to have your Mystic Shot off. You could maybe invite water in and try and counter it backwards.
Rek'Sai is bot lane.
Not the end of the world.
They saw. They had vision. Oh wait, it's
Hazard's not really here.
Hold on. I already got trolled. GG. Reeton taking a lot of damage in this exchange. It's not looking good at all.
Backs the plasma and Maro stops to a T. I don't think this is too bad for Venom Crest. I think Reeton's fine to burn pots here. Maro took a decent amount of damage. There will not be capitalization of the level 1. And Water did find out that the Arcane Shift was through. They invited the Dredge line. So a little bit of a stilted level 1. It's going to be off kilter. But I don't think that's too bad for the Ezreal. I think chilling out in this lane and taking it slower, not the end of the world for him.
Yeah, and I mean, the real facilitators we want to see on making these games lanes get a little bit less chill would be the junglers, right? And I would like to see Hazard pull something off on this Rek'Sai. So we'll have to watch these junglers as well with their pathing. Looks like they're both heading towards that bottom side and really want to get their bot laners ahead. Kai'Sa's so strong at the moment. If this Kai'Sa does get ahead, it can kind of mean lights out for Venom Crest.
Yeah, in the isolated matchup against Ezreal, if you leave these two AD carries to farm against each other, Dredge line goes slightly wide there. Priority not fully elucidated, and we got 2 Matthews to help push the wave. Nico getting a little of extra range, not to be argued with.
Oh my.
Chova, that's we're almost on lethal here. We're almost there.
Yeah, lane's looking a bit
The blue
Chover.
shield used as well. Well, George, if that's level 3 in the end of this caster wave.
Potions pop for both as well. It is scary. I mean, Yone can turn these as well. That's the thing. You have to be careful
with getting the level 3 first, with having that push in.
Yeah.
It does have that little bit of extra setup and security. Paul George went for that, as I was itching for him to do so. Would have been a very negative gaming experience.
And Shy not quite able to get the knockup onto the Gwen. We will see this lane be absolutely horrid for Shy for a majority of this game, and that's just what they've drafted. Yeah.
Yeah, there is absolutely no stage in which Shy is not vulnerable to just being scissored upon.
And one shot, right? Like this Gwen does so much true damage.
Yeah, it is the extended damage build, so we will be looking, as Rory mentioned, towards the Nash's Tooth and sort of having the ability to just walk up and right click anytime. Shin gonna look to hold this wave here, see if that elucidates a bigger lead. Should do. in the next minute or so, as the waves will not get out from under Gwen's tower. Yeah, so much damage. No electrocute to make the best of these. So we will be waiting a little longer for the Gwen to come online. Not quite as brutal without the red setup.
And I don't know if Venomcrest knew that there was a ward in there, but Rek'Sai will show on Vision. Sejuani will trade Grub or Scuttles, and it looks like it will still be a little bit of a lull in this early game. No flashy plays being made just yet.
Yeah, the tension rising. I think series means so much to both of these teams.
Yeah. If anything,
Yeah,
I'd see Venomcrest loosen up before I see Good Chi, I feel like.
Mm,
I feel like last game was so tense for them
Let's wait
already,
till the first kill comes through. Let's wait for the first kill to come through.
It's true.
I wouldn't mind, and this is sort of a critique of Ezreal at Worlds, something we have seen from especially the Chinese teams. They'll pick Ezreal into this matchup, which is absolutely awful for Ezreal. However, they will designate that the jungler is now his best friend. And it will often be 3 people surrounding
Conjoined at
Ezreal.
the hip.
So that yeah, that threat of just being dove upon by Kaiser is almost like, go on then. You want to leverage this matchup. You're itching to get your finger on the trigger, and my jungler is still here. So come on in. And that's been, I think, the way BLG, especially Light, has made the best of this champion this year. It has been sort of a difficult situation to draft around at Worlds, and to see it used here in the UK is maybe going to be a testament to Venomcrest's hard work if they pull this off.
And surprisingly, Sejuani going to be ahead in the farm department in this jungle matchup for now. And Rek'Sai not really able to farm much more, is going to move onto the map, try and see if they can actually start this dragon. Venomcrest getting started off in this game quite comfortably, I'd have to say. I mean, I feel like they don't know Sejuani's there, but this is uncontested.
Yeah, we'll get in nice and early, and I think Rek'Sai does suffer a little less from the damage, and even the slowdown in tempo of picking up your farm, just because you're almost sort of accepting you're going into a funny position, you're going try and upset someone off tempo, you want to be the knockup they don't see coming. So staying on the path does keep that individual strength up, but it's not original, and the champion won't start appearing behind people if you know where it is. So I think with the dragon going down, the camps being taken in topside, it's instead setting up for a bigger meeting in front of these void clubs.
We'll have to see whether Scouse does opt to start that meeting off. It looks like they will be moving towards that top side and maybe threatening those grubs. Paul George taking a lot of damage in the mid lane. And I mean, both these teams, like we mentioned, this game is so tense. This game means so much to all of them. Hopefully we're counting minions in the mid lane. We'll have to see.
Oh,
Hold
I
on.
hope so, Chova.
Was not counting minions. Will have to burn the flash. And Nico already wearing down the enemies. I think this is another thing that we didn't quite get to highlight just yet, as Sejuani steals away one of those grubs. In game 3, right, where this game means so much to these two teams, there's so much tension. It's so much more mentally taxing to actually play against a champion like Nico. You have to be thinking about so many things, right? You're thinking about the game state, where you want to gank next. I mean, if you're playing Yone, you're thinking about your lane, your wave states, right?
Yep,
where the enemies are.
You're watching your sides to see if you can just rip someone's head off.
You're watching so much, but you have to worry about counting minions too? Are you kidding me?
Fourth caster minion at the back is just like, did I leave that there?
I mean, mentally, it is so taxing, genuinely. Like, we are so late into the night as well. Like, you'd be surprised.
The tactical choice, Venomcrest, and we see it. We see. All right. Teleporting from the top side. Shy using out of that lane. No major objectives up on the board, but we'll be missing at this next dragon. We'll see if Venomcrest have to take a little bit of a back step because of it. And that freeze in the top side did pull out a 10 CS lead, which has since been doubled. Shin just taking it easy with Shy up here. Also going for that extended raid.
Chover, not quite going to die to that one. It looked like Nico did want to step in front of the Fate Sealed, but the first blood is going to go the way of Good Chi, and Scouse picks that one up by his lonesome.
Yeah, Paul George, unfortunately unable to convert despite committing the ultimate. Hazard going to try for the revenge on top.
Yeah, speaking of converting with ultimates, it looks like Shy will be converting this kill into this ultimate into a kill for the side of Venomcrest, and Hazard picks that one up themselves. That's going to be pretty good for the strike side, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a nice reverse in the top side. I don't think the third cast of Shin's ultimate got out there, or if it did, definitely not enough damage at this stage in the game. The Leandries might be on its way, but we do not have enough magic damage to get through that Spectre's Cal.
Matthew, I mean, the wave isn't quite in, and okay, Nico was here, so Reeton gonna try and defend against this dive, and Maro going so deep with that, with the ultimate for Kaisa, and Matthew with Arcane Shift away. Nautilus juggling that tower aggro so darn well. Scouse should be able to get out alive, and Good Chi doing really well to find that dive onto 2.
An artsy dive if I've ever seen one. The Nico was hiding. Nico was here at the back.
Killer Instinct. That's what it was.
Killer Instinct, yep, to follow the Void Rush.
Oh god. Maro, no Killer Instinct available to him. With the flash away, will just get eaten up by this Rek'Sai, and Hazard does well to get that kill back. I don't think it was a shutdown, but either way, Venom Crest.
You're enjoying it no matter what. 2-0 on the Rek'Sai, and a tasty ward, and that's the sort of kills you got to be looking for with the Rek'Sai. You got to be in places you don't expect. You got to be upsetting the tempo of the game, and success there so far.
Kaisa items though. Oh my.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit scary. Ezreal on his Sheen and tier, maybe not comparing. Despite holding on in CS, that dive enough to get Maro the Shiv, which will start to push the wave. We'll find the Ezreal under the tower a few more times to be sure.
Yeah, Ezreal might need to buy another tier after he sees the Kaisa items, but either way. Venom Crest, are still keeping things rather even. It's only going to be 600 gold lead for Good Chi at this moment, and it actually seems like this game has had a little bit more aggression than in the last. I think we were maybe at 1 kill at 10 minutes last game, so a little bit more higher paced.
I'm going to preface that with it was over an hour ago, and sorry, I'm scared. This has gone wide on Paul George.
Okay, Hazard trying to get something done as well. Scouse taking a lot of damage, and this Rek'Sai does so much work on that Sejuani. The pig will walk away alive, though, and it looks like Good Chi not going to be able to make anything happen in the mid lane. Shin in the top side, burning ultimate and trying to burn down Shy's health bar, but that is a very tanky Ornn. Hazard moving up. This could be a repeat of last time. Shin gets clipped by the knock-up, and the flash forward from Shy. It will be enough. Hazard didn't even need to show up. Shy gets that kill in top lane.
Just for the assist efficiency. There we go. That's unlucky. And, yeah, it's definitely more measured aggression. I feel like you're right. The Ornn finding his way. I can't help but think Shin has burned the Hallowed Mist a little too early in both fights. When you do have that advantage champion to champion, if you do burn your cooldowns, you open yourself up to a little bit of counterplay. We'll have to see if that continues up there as the magic resist and health continues to build, and the AP items seem a little elusive. Dragon spawns, and with Venom Crest committing on the top side, Good Chi in a better position here.
Yeah, and this dragon should just go the way of Good Chi. It's going to be an Infernal Dragon, so it's going to be quite influential for them to pick up that damage. Going to be a little bit nice to pad their stats a little bit, and Maro obviously already having this first item completed. This guy says going to be doing quite a bit. Hazard also does quite a bit of damage though, and is looking towards this bottom lane. If the side of Good Chi don't smell it out, they usually do, but he's on vision. Surely we know. All right, they did back away.
Just inviting it, just not giving the game away. Can't argue with it at all. Yaros, coast to coast up here, is on these grubs. Shin will come and assist as well, so this should be the 4 over. This should be the first Void Mites we see this series. It's been a little while, but I think it suited the late game style of both teams to just make sure, they can't have Void Mites, and I'm not that interested in Void Mites. So we're going to 40, and my will still be standing.
Although, Shin is not going to be as much of a side lane threat as maybe we would have expected. This Ornn is doing so much work. I mean, maybe once Shin has that first item completed, but for now at least, this Gwen not going to be as much of a monster as we would have expected. Chover might not be able to do so as well. Has to burn the Fate Seal to dodge away from Paul George, and I mean, Paul George just showing exactly why this Akali did so well in the Sunshine Showdown.
Yeah, absolutely lethal. I remember it then. Still a surprise when locked in. Absolutely popped off. I'm a bit worried for Shova. That's the second defensive ult. The last defensive ult did lead to a kill. But the solo lanes of Good Chi.
Matthew forced to dash away. Water might just catch himself in a little bit of hot water here. Paul George with the TP in, trying to find some damage. Does not have the ultimate available, so the chase will not be as easy as maybe could have been. Reeton not moving quick enough either. That should just be Nautilus way out of the way. Scouse moving in towards this top side, but Hazard's in the area yet again, and Shy once again looking so dang unstoppable in this top side for Venom Crest.
Gwen does get a little stronger at level 11, but Shy has already got his hallowed item. And is absolutely pushing Shin to the brink despite being down in gold. Really impressive. And yeah, we're gonna have to wait a real long time. Oh, Shin. I feel like this is a slightly out of date build. Never mind. We'll have to see if the healing is enough to keep him in and keep him trading up against the Ornn. In my mind, it probably isn't. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, wow. Aggressive dash forward for the Ezreal. Matthew doing just enough damage to take out that Nautilus. Reeton with the flash away. The Ignite ticking, and the Killer Instinct there to finish him off for Morrow. The flash forward, the Q. Not quite enough damage, and in comes Shy, trying to get another trade kill here for Chi, but it will be Scouse moving in. Shy, not quite the jungler that Venom Crest needed there, and it looks like Kaisa will get out alive in the mid lane. Chover trading with Paul George, and it looks like Gwen will be able to get a push in towards that top side as well. Chover is going to be able to secure that kill with the snapback. The turret not going to be enough there that time, and Shy still in this bottom lane.
Yeah, we're upping the ante. Soul Unbound was enough in mid. Scouse, very sorry.
He's just dead, I think. That last brutal block for Shy will be able to pick it up. Morrow on the run.
Oh.
And the Rek'Sai still with ultimate available will be able to finish that Kaisa off. The knock up here on the water, and it might just be another dead member for Good Chi. Water able to get underneath the turret, and I don't think the dive is possible here just yet. That will be first turret taken up for free by Good Chi. I don't really know who won out in that long extended fight.
Yeah, I think Chi will be happy that, you know, lots of cooldowns were burned. The Kaiser picked up kill. Shin's got some gold of his own now. Has finally got the magic pen boots that make a pretty big difference on the Gwen as well. Everything that doesn't get converted over to true now will hit a lot harder to everyone else who isn't Shy. And I was worried on that play in the bottom side, you know, as Hazard came in through the tri-bush, took about half his health. I was like, oh, this Rek'Sai does damage, but he doesn't take it very well. Able to just pick out Morrow, and Paul George now.
Speaking of taking damage, Paul George taking quite a bit. The Glacial Prison on top of the Fate Sealed will be plenty for that kill to get picked up. Good Chi move towards the Rift Herald with a man advantage.
Yeah, that's a confident pickup, and unfortunately Paul George confident in the wrong position without his teammates on top of him. So Good Chi are able to take advantage and push forwards. We will be able to get the side lanes in, and we can even check in with Shin and Shy right now. I think Shin is starting to be able to push these waves a little more effectively. Shy is still very scary, and not stopping the Gwen from getting her farm up.
That Ezreal could have stolen the Rift Herald. I think he was on 1 HP. That was a bit scary.
Very close. pulled out just enough. Well done.
Chover into the mid lane. Has the Q3. Did not quite predict the Arcane Shift, so will not be able to get the knock up here on the Matthew, but a good effort nonetheless. The turret goes down, and Good Chi looking so dang good in this mid game.
And the Rift Herald instantly summoned. It is in charge range, so we'll get that one on the way. They will get the damage, and the traversal over onto this first Chemtech Dragon. Chempunk, there we go.
And Chemtech Dragon, not really the one that either of these two teams are looking for to kind of seal the deal last game. Venom Crest kind of relying on that Mountain Soul to kind of win a few of those fights, or at least get towards the later stages of the game. Not going to be as impactful of a soul this time around. I mean, obviously it's good on champions like Gwen and Yone, but
I think, you know, it is just raw value.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like the Infernal Dragon because it is just that extra stats. The Chempunk's slightly more conditional. You know, it does rely on you being in a certain
HP range,
place.
yeah.
But, you know, if your opponent's going to kill you, you'd be in there for a little while. As in the top side, I think a misstep from Paul George has to fall away nice and quick. That is Venom Crest. Picking up both sides of that.
Yeah, I mean, Venom Crest get the dragon, but Good Chi get a tier 2 turret in that top side, and this is what they've done so well throughout the series. It's just a case of where do you move from here? Reeton maybe getting caught. Morrow not quite able to find a connection here onto any of the members. Matthew caught by the Fate Sealed and the knock up here from Water. Will it be enough damage to kill this Ezreal though? Nautilus doesn't normally win that 1v1. Ezreal picks up the kill. Morrow on the run just killed the Nico, but will go down as well. Chover, the last remaining member of Good Chi in this fight, and I think he's going to go down as well. Hazard trying to pick him up. Yone nearly trading one in that exchange, but Hazard will get that kill with the Akali, and Good Chi showing signs of weakness.
Yeah, 3 for 1, absolute overextension. They will continue to push on this tower. The Void Mites will do so much damage. And yeah, Matthew just living by his cleanse there, peeling the CC and the Ignite off of himself. He should go forwards. Such an excellent play, such an excellent calm there. And with Chover being at the bottom of his Soul Unbound, that was their presence missing from the mid lane. The numbers advantage soon turned the fight.
And as we look back towards Shin, not really connected to any of these fights, right? We've seen Ornn get into so many of these fights, but this Gwen isolated in the side lane the entire game, and it seems like maybe that's the makings of a few of these issues for Good Chi. Venomcrest maybe going to get punished, though. Paul George caught by the Yone yet again, and Chover doing so much damage, but finally able to live in one of those exchanges, and Paul George will walk away.
Yeah, I think with the Blade of the Rune King and extra items coming through, we'll start to see Yone get towards full build.
Is Shy tower diving right now? Shin, really no way out, and I mean, Reeton was there, but didn't really have to contribute too much.
No, just a little extra just to get it over the line. Shy just looks so strong. I like the auto attack reduction boots coming through. That does negate a lot of damage. Shin is on his way to a Nash's Tooth that is already being reduced in efficacy by these boots, by all this magic resist that's coming through, and even with the half healing, Conqueror will do less, the passive from Gwen will do less.
Oh no.
Shy's in his comfort zone.
Oh, Hazard with a good knock up onto 2. Morrow forced to be pushed back, and he will go down in the end. Reeton on the flank, able to catch water unawares. And a double kill goes the way of Matthew. They have control over the map. They can push this mid lane, and Venomcrest can finally look to claim a tier 1 turret pre-20 minutes.
Yeah, she get the tower they were looking for.
Nope,
but
they're not going to get the tier 1 mid.
I think, no, so the tier 2 falls, and she does have some distance now. But they pay over it again. I think, not respecting that the Ezreal's return damage is there, that Shy had enough time just to chill out, teleport back in, and be present. It's caused Chi a little bit of issues where, Yone is super strong, and they were looking for an angle, but it's just too much too soon.
Yeah, it seems like Good Chi maybe failed their grade 1 maths classes with these counting of minions. But they haven't quite failed in other areas. As you can see, they are quite ahead in the gold, as well as the tower department. Paul George left on his lonesome in a 1v1 against Shin, and this should be enough damage from the Gwen, the snip, to finish them off, and the Akali goes down. Good Chi do lose a member on the opposite side, but once again, turret damage being done, and Good Chi look to claim another.
Yeah, the value of the Void Might's coming through pretty fast here. Just keeps that minion wave alive longer. So despite it being 1-for-1 on each side of the map, the ability to push here for the solo lanes of Good Chi award them a little bit of a good vibe. They will have to peel back here.
Whew. Actually able to pull a fast one here on Chover, able to use the clone so dang effectively, and finds a good pop blossom onto 2. Shin on the run. Chover getting taken down. The arcane shift from Matthew to finish him off, and that's a second one picked up for the Ezreal. A 7th in total. 7-2 is Tryhard Matthew, and Venomcrest looks so strong moving into the later stages of this game.
Yeah, they nearly tied up the goal. They brought it back to 1,000 with that tier 1 on top as the bonus for taking down the solo lanes of Good Chi. It's getting a bit scrappy, and this is where Hazard's Rek'Sai is starting to gain so much value. The rotation down from mid was so fast, and the Ezreal, despite having to walk at normal human pace, not tunneling through, is enough to tip the fight. Good Chi need to respect that these numbers can move. They surely know this Baron is down, and they're choosing position. They're choosing a pick on the dragon instead.
And Venomcrest have done this so many times throughout the series, taking this Baron about 20 seconds before this dragon spawns. They seem to love this timer, because they know that, Good Chi maybe could have tried to contest it, push them off, but they're going to opt for that dragon every single time, and Venomcrest pick up a Baron, they dress themselves in purple, and they might be able to start to even out a few of these turrets.
Yeah, they're going to be running out of the base here. Looks like the dragon will go over, so that goes to 2-2. And once again, we're set up for late game. We're set up for the Venomcrest comfort zone. Their comp maybe suits it a little less this time, but if these players are anything if not predictable, it is that they love going late.
And it is a lot of shutdowns on the side of Venomcrest, so they do need to start playing on a thin line. If they give all of these over, Good Chi start to garner quite a gold lead, right? The gold is essentially even, but so many shutdowns afforded to the side of Venomcrest's carries. If they go down, it could prove fatal. Good Chi not quite able to find a fight here, but they're able to get them off of the tier 1 turret they're defending in the mid lane, and realistically, Venomcrest eventually should be able to break this down with the Baron, but so much wave clear on the side of Good Chi.
It's pretty difficult. The Triforce Empower comes through there, Shy level 15, so starting to donate a significant number of items to his teammates. And that does put the gold lead in Venomcrest's favor. That upgraded Triforce, it does do a significant amount of damage more. Keep our eyes on Matthew as to whether he can keep chipping away at health bars. Just looking at the top side of the map, it looked like Paul George was gearing up to try something there. Instead, just hovering in the fog of war. Just getting Good Chi to think about whether a ninja can flip over this mid lane.
Yeah, and it's not only the ninja you need to worry about, you also need to worry about this void monster in a hazard. Looking over this wall.
Oh.
Could look for something here on Tomorrow. And it will be an engage coming out from water. It's going to be Matthew very low. Morrow into the backline, finds the killer instinct and finds a way to kill Matthew, but trades his life for it. Reeton goes down, and a good fate sealed coming out from Chover might just be enough. Paul George gets snipped to an early grave, and it's going to be Shin chasing Hazard, trying to get another kill picked up. This Rek'Sai, no real way out, trying to dodge, trying to weave, but will get taken down in the end by the Seamstress, or by the doll, I should say. Shy goes down as well, and it's a clean ace in only exchange for their ADC for the side of Good Chi.
Morrow went down, the dive was deep, and the backup was there. Chova and Shin, fantastic timing. Unfortunately, the Kaiser did fall. That is sort of the realization of Shin's lead here in the top side. Starting to fade away, but was able to deal enough damage back. The inhibitor tower will fall as Shin didn't have to teleport, did manage to just walk down there, I think. And that's the start. You know, I think the statistic, and this is as old as season 2 or 3, so do take it with a little bit of salt, was that if you lose your bottom inhibitor, your win rate is down to 10%. Competitive and solo queue the same. With that in mind, I'm going to keep our eye on Venom Crest now. They're digging deep. They are not only going for this late game zone, they have sort of, you know, measured their lead up against Good Chi and found it not as big as they thought they did. And at the start of the game, he said that was, you know, the next phase almost in their archetypal game in the way they like to play.
Yeah, this is where they like to be, right? This is the throw in the early to mid game area where they had a lead and now, oh god, it's a little bit difficult.
It's the don't rush it. Don't rush it. You know, we've got to enjoy it. Looking at the gold, they are starting to slip behind 3,000 for Good Chi off the back of that last fight.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, it's a little
massive
crazy.
gold swing. One fight, literally like 4,000 gold.
I think there'll have been one bounty at least on the Shy. Probably on Hazard as well.
Yeah, there was one on Matthew, I believe, and Paul George. Maybe not Paul George.
Goodness.
Yeah,
it could have been off the CS. Could have been off the CS. It's been a while since they died. Shin still hovering on this side. Will show on the minion wave. It means there might be a bit of a counterpunch in mid. Hazard's not far away. Does have the Tremor Sense out.
We'll have to see whether a pick goes the way of Good Chi or Venom Crest are able to turtle up a little bit. And I mean, wait for these champions to come online, right? Ezreal is finally 3 items, so he is going to be quite strong moving forward. Akali cleanly on 2 items and completed boots, so going to be one-shotting people. And that 3rd item slowly coming in for Hazard. I don't know how much they actually rely on Rek'Sai items, honestly, in this game. I feel like we're definitely watching Paul George and Matthew.
Yeah, for sure. The Rek'Sai is sort of the facilitator now. There were those sort of clean assassinations, and much like a Jarvan, if you leave them unchecked, you have to fire away at someone else, the threat starts to build nice and quick. But it's not the be-all end-all. It's probably not a solo assassination unless it's Kaiser without cooldowns, without the Void Rush. Killer Instinct, as you properly said earlier on. It's unlikely to be that way. But we do want to see loads of health come through. We're going to convert some of that tankiness over to damage with the Hydra. Maybe a Spirit Visage in the future. It's hard to say. It's going to be sort of on Venom Crest players' heads to decide where they want to assign that damage and tankiness. Matthew just jumping away here. Chova and
the
Maro
entire team was here.
Yeah, they were fishing for a quick dive there.
And Dragon spawns, so this is the makings of a fight for these 2 teams. They both want to get within soul point reach. But it looks like the Dragon has been started up and nearly taken by the side of Good Chi. They pick it up for free. Shy looking for a good Ornn ult over the top, only able to find a knock up onto Scouse. A lot of dashes afforded to the side of Good Chi if they want to try and get out over these walls. Shy gets deleted though, and they want to move forward. It's going to be Gwen into the backline. It's going to be Chover onto Matthew. The Reeton ultimate does not matter. The side of Good Chi will melt through the health bars of Venom Crest. Matthew with a good dash away, able to get out of sight of Shin. But eventually this Ezreal will end up falling. You have to think Scouse moving forward still. Matthew actually dodging and weaving these Qs in. Will be able to lower that cooldown on the Arcane Shift, but not enough space is bought. Scouse and Chover moving in. Matthew still running away, but Gwen will pick up this inhibitor no matter what.
It's the little revenge he can have is drawing the Sejuani around the map. And while Venom Crest were able to pick off Mara and Water, little disconnection, Shy going down despite being really tanky. A little too fast for the rest of Venom Crest to come in over the top. Will be enough. The inhibitor itself falls this time. And the 2 Nexus towers are exposed. We'll have to see whether this is another repeat, whether we see Nexus towers going down in the backgrounds of other plays. Pings from both sides down onto this Baron. As Venom Crest barrel out of the base to try and gain some standing on a dark objective from both sides.
And I mean, that fight did kick off with the Ornn quite disconnected from the rest of Venom Crest. So maybe if it's a little bit more of a straight-on fight, if it's a little bit more of a front-to-back, might prove different. But yeah, definitely. I mean, Gucci have such a strong team fight, right? You have to worry about Gwen in the backline. You have to worry about Chover in the backline. You have to worry about Morrow deciding to go to the backline. And it's so hard to actually defend that backline when you also want to press forward, get to the backline of Gucci. And you can see it in these team fights. It's so hard to navigate. Chover, I mean, might just get caught. I mean, okay, well, it's a little bit easier to play these team fights when it's a 4v5. Ornn with the TP in, Paul George with the TP in as well over the top. Scouse doing what he can. Water trying to play the bodyguard, but it's going to be Shin taken down. It's going to be Good Chi running for the hills. Morrow going to get taken down as well. Paul George there to finish him off. A double kill for them. And it looks like Nautilus should be next to follow. Scouse not going to be able to trade one back onto Paul George. A clean ace for the side of Venom Crest, and he might even be able to end this game.
Pretty healthy. I can't help but thinking over the step from Good Chi. They lose Chover Shin. The mist was used very early. Wing.
They're coming for their entrance here into the playoffs for the UKEL. Hazard tanking the turret. The damage getting done. Venom Crest have 5 on the Nexus, and they only have to deal with Chover, but they don't even want to. They get the Nexus. They claim their spot at playoffs, and Venom Crest, against all odds, win this series 2-1.
We wouldn't have expected it. Good Chi favored here. They looked so strong even in that last game. But if this has proved anything, it's time to kick up your feet. It's time to relax. It's time to get comfy. That's what Venom Crest have managed here with some odd picks, some oddball setup, and the deep bond between these players after having played together for so long. Drake has been an honor. They were the 10%. They managed to do it. They managed to take them down. Any closing thoughts before we flip it back to the desk?
I mean, just a banger series. I couldn't literally ask for more. We got a 50-minute game, we got a 20-minute game, and we got a 30-minute game. So this series delivered all things I wanted to, and I mean, congrats to Venom Crest, right? Like, Good Chi was a little bit of a David versus Goliath situation for them, and if they can beat them, who knows what they're going to be able to do in the playoffs.
Might be the repeat of summer we have been talking about all split long. Drake, a pleasure. Let's send it back over to the desk. Oh, it's still me. Look at that. Hey guys, how we doing? Pivotless. I'm real sorry. It looked like you were on for your predictions there, and it turns out we all lose today.
Yeah, I mean, it was close, right? And do you know what? I'd be really interested to the exact game end time there, because we were talking about how this one gets to 30 minutes. That's when it flips.
Done it again.
That's when it flips.
You did say Venom Crest are going to do this just in under 30, and you were close. You were close.
Well,
let's call that last 32 seconds, 30 minutes and 32 seconds to be precise.
I'll call it the game-winning fight just below.
Yeah, that's
below
the
30.
finishing though. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's I mean, it looked right just before that final fight. It looked like more or less the death knell in bot side, but
it did. You know, the Gwen got it in. I was like, yeah, it's 10% win rate, guys. That's not looking very good. It turns out 10% of the time it'll work 100% of the time. Evie, first replay. Let's kick it off.
Yeah, so in the early game, right, we had some really phenomenal players from Good Chi, and it looked like they were accelerating the game away right from the off. Right, Venom Crest needed to be winning in the early game, and well, for the most part, it wasn't happening as Good Chi looked to set up this dive here. And I mean, Reeton, Tryhard, Matthew coming back into the lane, and you can see that Reeton he thinks he's on for a play here. He's turned into a minion. He thinks he's got the angle on tomorrow. Little does he know, here comes Scouse. And while Water's in there a bit early, and then, you know, the wave hasn't quite crashed yet, some phenomenal tower aggro juggling means that Mara can ult in. He only takes the 1 tower shot. Water up to this point, he's allowed to now step in, and with a flash, he gets out. The aftershock of the shield just about keep him alive. And as we say, this juggling of aggro means that they all barely survive this. And with 2 kills on Tomorrow in a matchup that typically we expect Kai'Sa to pick up the buck in later on, right? She starts to really accelerate from 2 items onwards. Getting those 2 kills in early stabilized Good Cheese bot side for the majority of this game.
Yeah, and I just want to call back to something we did say in the cast. I sort of elucidated earlier on, if you want to be if you want to be light, if you want to be the sort of best Ezreal in the world, you do need some friends up against the Kai'Sa. You
also
that
need
sort
to
of
not
position
greed
magic.
your E to get 1 minion on the crashing tower
Absolutely
wave,
that as
which
well.
then leads to both your bot laners dying and you don't trade the kill.
True. But in team fights, this Ezreal was rarely found, was always kept at distance, and that was enough to sort of get them through. Rory, we got the game-ending sequence. Talk us through it. This is the big moment. This was the good Chi are gonna fight this Baron, and that's probably it. The inhibitor's down. Things are going wrong.
So Chova decides to say, I have soul unbound, let's go on a scouting mission, jumps straight onto a Rek'Sai, and then gets one tapped. Shin here completely wastes W, and ult barely does anything. Then we start seeing a bit of a split fight, where Mara and all the tanks are on one side, and so Venom Crest correctly just go, you know what, let's just kill the Gwen, and then it's just an easy rundown from there.
Yeah, Shai's health barely moved.
Yep, barely at all. It's just got me questioning, why are you in this position when you can just go as a death ball and be pretty solid? You can be pretty solid if you just rely on your blue trinkets and walk it in, because Venom Crest don't have a fast Baron. It was an Ezreal Rek'Sai trying to do it, so like you're not under any pressure of like some Fiddlesticks Callista tech or just bouncing it down.
You're saying Kesha's Nunu or Inspired's Nunu not drifting in from the side.
No, incredibly not so. That was such a damp squib of a final fight, because it's just Chova not respecting crowd control in any way and just dying instantly, and then all falling apart.
It's a terrible shame. It's in contrast, if you can't rely on that big tank in front of you, you can't bring your friends with you. In the late game, it makes a big difference. Evie, closing thoughts as Venom Crest will move on to the second stage of our cross groups, early portion of playoffs.
So as Venom Crest move on, it's like I mentioned right at the start, go all the way back to the start of the stream today. I think this is a team that doesn't have a ton of experience in best of ones, but they showed in the Sunshine. Oh, that's a toughie, isn't it? Ooh. Sunshine Showdown. They're very comfortable in a best of environment, and as they adapt draft over the course of this series, they've showed a few different styles, but not necessarily all of which we've seen during the regular season. I'm very happy to see that they have shown that adaptation, and I think it stands them in pretty good stead going forward. One thing, that I did see today out of Venom Crest that we've not seen for most of the split is Shy going multiple laning phases without dying is a phenomenal upgrade as far as I'm concerned. While being counted,
there were some struggles in game one, but then
we had some moments.
Yeah.
For the most part, right, a pretty, especially on Matt Nar and the team fights, a pretty key contributor to why Venom Crest were able to stay in those games and drag them out as long as they were. So I think they have developed a lot as a team. And whilst it's easy to say that probably this was Good Cheese series to lose, especially once we got to that 27, 28 minute mark in this last game, a lot of tenacity on display, which bodes well for their games going forward.
And that is all of our predictions.
Oh, that's so
Ghosts.
Cool.
Yes,
faded away as our faith in Good Cheese not quite rewarded. I think I'm just waiting on confirmation because I asked League Ops a question. Belfast versus Vertex still going. I think they're in the final game.
Going into the night.
And going late tonight. They did start a little bit after us. So I'm just looking for some results quickly. Fill time.
Phil Time. I mean,
don't know him, but I'm sure he's a lovely guy.
Yeah, Philip Time. Fantastic lad. They are 1-1 currently. So
they are going into the third game.
Are they going into the third game or are they in the third game? That's
in the third game. Else
tragic.
I'd be tempted.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Break out the catch cast. Right. So, who plays who next in this format? is based upon
So
who
my
wins this next set, because there is seeding implications.
Is it not Nuclear Vikings versus Venom Crest?
I
that
wish it were
bracket?
that simple, because we've
Oh,
got two teams from different groups playing up
Right.
against the next team. I think if they can go cross group, they must. And if not, we have to figure it out. Belfast Storm have a small lead, so drop them a message of support on Twitter, on X, or rather all the social medias. I know I've been on Blue Sky this week, and we're not sponsored by any of you. So, drop them a message of support, as Vertex did handily, I believe, crush game one. And now it's a fight back from Belfast Storm, and they appear to be raging on with an advantage in game three. It's been a pleasure tonight. Thank you very much both for coming on. Thank you to Drake, who we've had earlier. Any statements as we look at Paragon and Nuclear Vikings looming in the distance?
Now that Venom Crest have shown they can play a mid-game comp, I think it's
Okay.
putting them in much better stead going forwards. They've patched up their main issues in laning, I feel, which
Does that
whether
make you feel
that's
confident? Isn't enough?
it's more confident.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
More than 0 is, I guess, it's a low
That's an
bar.
improvement.
Like we
Yeah.
stated tonight, 10% is enough sometimes.
Yeah, it's what I will say going forward is I'd be really interested if it works out such that in terms of seeding we see Venom Crest Nuclear Vikings. It's a really interesting game. I'm of the opinion that both of these teams have very similar early game issues and tend to pull things together later on. So it's very much a clash of who is better at 40 minutes in those ultra late game team fights. Like we said, right, Venom Crest have just proved competency when it comes to piloting these mid game team fighting comps. So there's a world where if they do end up playing against Nuclear Vikings, they opt into going in that direction, showing something a little bit different, saying, okay, well, we're not 100% confident we can beat you late game, but we can damn sure beat you in the mid game. So, of course, when we look across to Paragon, I think their scoreline betrays them somewhat. I think they ended 4-4, and I would suggest that they're maybe a little bit of a better team than that. So I'm curious, right? Because I think there is no sure thing team out of all the teams left in this bracket right now. I think it's fair to say that Ruddy and Verdant sit at the top of the pack, but of all the teams we have remaining, there is no match I can look at and say with any certainty they win 100% of the time. And as you mentioned, 10% is enough.
All right, the winner of those future series to be decided will play up against Ruddy and Verdant in the upper bracket, or the loser will be awaiting in the lower bracket for whoever loses those first series. Stay tuned to all of our social media for an update on the winner later tonight of our second series. And otherwise, good night from myself, from Pivotless, and from Rory B. We'll see you on Thursday for the next set of our cross group playoffs section. Good night. We'll see you next time.